Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 9 of the Utopiacast. I'm your host, Erik Hogan, with my co-host and performer of the day yesterday, Michael Beaupre. Michael, say hello to the people.
What's up?
And we are joined with not one, not two, but 3 guests. A reoccurring guest, and then 2 new people today. So we have Andrew Graves, who was featured on episode 3. Andrew, how you doing today?
Been worse.
And we're also joined with 2 Team Hogan members and 2 very strong guys that I met through Andrew. We have one, Robert Dortona, straight out of Salem, New Hampshire. Bobby, say hello to the people.
Hi, how are you?
And we're also featuring the Moggening himself,
Jesus Christ.
Dave Cailler. To my left, I guess you guys is right. Dave, how you doing?
I've been better.
These guys went out. We had a long meet yesterday. These guys went out. But they're good to go today. So
It's for the content.
It is for the content. We did it on purpose. So we've had a pretty busy stretch of weeks. As we alluded to or talked about, I guess, in depth last episode, I competed, I guess, 2 weeks ago from yesterday, 3 weeks ago from yesterday. Dave competed 2 weeks ago from yesterday, and Michael competed literally yesterday. And we were all involved in that meet. Bobby, Dave were spotters and loaders. Me and Andrew were co-meet directors. I had some people who lifted on the day, Michael being one of them. And we just kind of wanted to go and chronicle those busy stretch of weeks that we had, as it was pretty unique. Before we get into that, Andrew, why do we keep doing this? We did this last time we ran a meet. We had 3 straight weeks of powerlifting meets. Why do we keep doing that?
You got to keep your time occupied somehow, I guess.
It's all for the money.
I don't know. I feel like I'll go stretches like without doing anything related to it, and then when it starts happening, it just like happens in bursts.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just over and over again. Like in January, actually, I think we directed the January meet, and then I think the next 3 weekends I also refereed at competitions. So
Your referee schedule has been picking up quite aggressively lately. Do you know roughly how many meets that you've refed since you've gotten your ref certification?
I mean, I think if you count yesterday, we might be at 12 now in the past year. So, averages out to 1 a month, but there's been certain months where I've done like 3 or 4,
right?
In a row. So
That Blazer's getting some miles on it, huh?
I know. I'm probably gonna have to take it to the dry cleaners after yesterday because it was hot as hell in there. But
Boy, got deodorant stains.
yeah, no, it
Mine's
was
got
rough for a little.
got fucking
but,
chalk stains on it.
Yeah, I did it in January, and then in March, it was these guys. Well, Bob competed. Dave was there. You were there, right?
I was there.
Yeah, Dave was there.
Seamus and Kyle.
And Isaiah and all of them competed.
Yep.
And then we did. You competed the week
Me.
before that, right?
Yep.
And then the week after, we directed the meet, and then the day after, I flew to Chicago to handle Josh at Nationals.
That's right.
And then that
Yeah.
same day, I flew back home.
Right.
When I
Yeah.
went to work. So, no, definitely keep myself busy. But it's fun, it's rewarding, and seeing like everybody's like posts like since last night up to today, and seeing everything that they have to say about like the experience has been awesome. And like seeing the people like clipping the live stream and everything.
Right.
Like,
Really happy with that turned out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a rewarding feeling for
And
sure.
and I just want to take a second. The live stream that you have put together, I talked about it before on episode 3, but the live stream you put together, we talked about, it got 1.2 views in 9 hours.
1.2 thousand.
Yeah, well, yeah, 1.2 thousand, 1.2 K.
What he meant.
I forgot to put the K there. Is pretty crazy. But yeah, we before these moments weren't captured in the meets that we did before, and if they were, it was on a shitty Facebook live stream. No offense, but they were just doing what they knew how to do. So,
Yeah.
And you didn't know how to do any of this stuff before you kind of got into it. You kind of taught yourself.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what happened last year at the July competition we did. The first one we did, I really had no idea, and so I just set up like a GoPro, got like a capture card for like $15, and just sort of set it up and went. Didn't really do much research, and that stream sucked, and that kind of pissed me off because it was like still kind of during COVID when nobody wanted to come out and be in crowds and stuff. So I was pretty upset at how I handled that, and so I wanted to like sort of really put a lot of energy into that and making that quality. And
Right.
yeah, so I sort of taught myself how to do that, and I think it's paid off pretty well so far.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's come out really good. I know no one definitely takes that for granted, especially having commentary and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love hearing the stuff that you say on there.
Yeah.
I don't think like I'm a great commentator. But
It's not. It's better than nothing.
yeah,
It is.
for sure.
I feel
Like,
you have to
especially
see
when
how
you cried.
seriously you take it when if you're watching you commentate, you get close to the mic and you hone in on everything.
He's
you're
here and
saying.
he's watching.
You
Yeah,
take it very
absolutely.
serious.
Yeah,
So no one on live can see that.
Right.
How you're operating when you're in that.
yeah.
You know?
You also got pretty emotional for a deadlift that we can talk about in a little bit.
Yeah, for
No
him
spoilers.
and
No
for
spoilers.
Yeah,
Elliot
let's not
as well.
spoil it. Yeah, yeah.
Elliot.
No free ads.
Elliot, who's not here with us today, had a great day as well. But we'll get into that in a second. Before we get into the meets, I want to debunk or debrief rather our viewers on who these two guys are. These two hooligans. Let's start with Bobby. Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you,
Wondering
Bobby?
myself. Who am I?
I'm a local guy, union guy. I'm
Attend
Bobby.
church
This is
weekly.
the content we want, man.
I'm 25. I'm an architectural designer by profession. I lift weights pretty often.
Yep.
frequently.
Recreational.
Compete in the USPA. So this is new to the Utopiacast, is having a USPA lifter on.
Correct. We haven't had USPA lifters on. I don't think. I mean, we talked about USPA a little bit. We definitely haven't had lifters on. You're a very strong guy.
I do my best.
Absolutely.
I do my
All
best.
relative.
What are your best? What are your best? What's your best total? What's your best meet numbers? And then what are your most? I guess what lifter are you most proud of?
My best meet was under Erik last March. It was my comeback meet after 5 years of taking some time off to evaluate, drink a lot, and also get my master's degree. So I took a little bit of time off of powerlifting for life circumstances, but I fell back into it last year. Really felt the drive to train. I've been seeing all my friends having a lot of fun with it and getting strong, and I really missed it. I missed the sport. So I decided it'd be my best interest for my health, for my joy, to get back into it, and I'm very happy that I did.
Yeah.
That time off, though it was valuable, I really fell in love with the sport again.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's all like new again.
Right.
You know, and
You were getting pretty burnt out towards the end of your first stint.
I was a kid. I didn't really know how to train. I had a lot of people in my corner, and it was very helpful for me growing up and growing into the sport.
Yeah.
But that time off is necessary.
Right.
Our training regimen that we used to do in college
Yeah, it
was
was crazy.
ridiculous.
And,
You guys
you know,
would
we
just
would-
like. I remember there was like a span of like 4 weeks where you would each try and out deadlift each other.
Yeah,
Like,
it
you
was
would go on
fun.
like back-to-back days, like deadlifting like
We
6
pulled-
That's the thing, though. I
We
miss when it
pulled
was fun,
heavy
you know?
RPE 9 singles twice a week for 4 years.
Not to cut you guys up, but to give you guys context, these three went to college with each other at Wentworth, Boston.
Yeah, and when we did that, that was a blast. I had a great time training, and training was exciting. And the minute it becomes work, the minute you don't want to be there, it's over. And sometimes you fall into that. Sometimes it's the regimen routine where you're not good enough. You're evaluating your training versus who you're seeing, and it's not healthy for you, and it becomes monotonous and arduous to even go.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to take a step back, but now it's exciting. It's like I'm a kid again with
Yeah.
it, and I'm excited to see where I go.
Yeah.
I have a lot of work to do, as we all do, but I'm excited on the course of training that I've had over the past year.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to grow really well into the sport and hopefully have a good total.
Yeah.
Hopefully be good at it.
Yeah.
So
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be good.
And
My
I
best
thi-
total is 1703 under Eric last March.
500 dots.
506 dots.
Sorry, 506. 506. You did weigh in at 193.
I did. 'Cause
Yeah. Wait,
that's
what?
funny.
Yeah.
I did weigh at 193.
Yes.
But it is what it is. So a 634 squat, 391 bench, which is crazy that I don't bench 400 pounds of company.
Right. Yeah.
It's laughable.
Yeah.
And a surprising 678 deadlift,
Yeah.
which we did not see coming.
No, not at all.
My best in the gym does not count at all, but I'm steadily approaching it. I think for my next meet we'll have. I don't want to jinx it. But
Yeah, of course.
1,800 in the bag.
Yep.
I would assume. And training's just been good. It's been fun.
Amen.
And I start with Erik on Monday for an elongated prep.
That's right. The OKC prep of the ages. But
That it will be.
that's right.
That I will popcorn it to Dave because I don't have much left.
Good segue to Dave.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say. So we'll segue into David Cailler, the Moggening himself. If you guys are familiar with Roger the Jack Kangaroo, that is Dave in human form. So we'll probably superimpose that onto this thing right here. Dave, you used to be a pretty loose cannon, but you reined it in and had the meet of your life although with a little bit of setbacks, but you fucking killed it last week. What's
Did
your
my best.
What's your background athletically? What's your background in the sport? Talk about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Dave, 25-year-old, apparently marsupial, the Jack Kangaroo. I'm an engineer. I went to school with these guys, as we kind of already talked about. I got into powerlifting in college, thanks to Bob, actually. But
I don't want to cut you off, but Bobby, I forgot to say this. You pretty much got like almost everyone that I work with into powerlifting. Andrew, you would say Bobby indirectly or somewhat directly got you into it.
I would say, well, kind of Dave and Bob, like concurrently. I guess I don't really know. I was closer with Dave. I wasn't really close with you
Yeah, get
until
wrecked.
like
Right.
our junior year. But what?
I said, yeah, get wrecked.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, no, yeah, but like we all seeing like Bob and Dave in the gym at the same time.
Yeah.
Like wanted me to push myself.
Right.
So.
Wait, we just need to talk about how I actually met Andrew. I met Caleb first because he was in my major, and what we used to do is as me and Mike Iasconi were walking down and we would pass Andrew and Caleb's door, we used to knock on it and then just walk away.
For no reason.
But
You
Andrew
guys
would be the
didn't even know
only.
me.
I know, but Andrew was the only one that was home, and so it would just annoy him and not Caleb.
Dave, can you continue talking about yourself?
Do I have to? This is way more fun.
Keep pushing, my son.
Yeah. So I got into powerlifting a little bit starting in college. I had done a little bit of weight training in like high school and stuff for football and wrestling. I got into it a little bit, but rugby was kind of the primary. That was more the focus a little bit. I did a powerlifting meet, did a USPA meet at the end of my sophomore year. I think I totaled like 1428.
What was that 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, summer 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drizzy.
Yeah. Needed to get there. We saved shoutouts for the end, I believe. But, and then rugby kind of became the primary focus. But after I graduated college, that's, I think, around when I started working with you for the first time, because I was going to do my last meet as a junior, that meet at Bay State. But got the Rona.
Right.
2 weeks out. Yeah.
Redacted.
Redacted. But so the meet that I just did last week, the Brazilian Classic 2 in after Brazilian Classic 1.
We'll talk about that later.
It's with Bagelicious.
Exactly. Hey, rest in peace with Bagelicious 1.
Brazilian Classic 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh man, the awakening.
Yeah, so I was able to put over 130 pounds on my best total. We had a 716 squat, a 396 bench, and a 705 pull, which should have been a little bit more, but the grip didn't work.
Right.
Second deadlift was in the studio, like, yeah, drop it.
Hand rope.
Yeah.
Ice your hands, people.
Yeah,
Ice your
exactly.
hands. Ice your
If you're big boys, ice your hands after squat and bench. It'll definitely help.
Right.
Yeah.
And what
so
weight class do you compete in, Dave?
I compete at 242.
242, and Bobby, you were at
I'm the 90s.
in the 90s, right? So we got a bunch of weight class reps. Me and Michael in the 67.5 or the 148s. We got Andrew in the 82.5 or 181s, and then we have Bobby in the 90s, and then a couple big guys here. I guess Kyle is the biggest probably. He's 140. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a 140.
Yeah,
I
When
don't.
he wants to be.
Yeah,
Unless he eats McDonald's on the way to
On the way to weigh-ins.
Yeah, weighs in at like 308.1.
Oh my God.
Oh, man, I should have made weight.
all right.
And if that's your
Brother, you did
prerogative,
this to
go for it.
yourself.
Well,
Yeah,
in his
absolutely.
defense, he was the only person above 275, so it didn't matter.
Well, yeah, true.
It never really matters, to be honest.
Does it?
Nothing
Yeah,
else
you know what
matters.
I mean? It never really matters anyway. So we had 3 straight weeks. So it started at July 16th down in Odyssey. We already talked about that. I was fortunate enough to total 1307 at 147. We already talked about that. It was a really good time. Andrew handled me on the day. Really, fun time. We walked in, took care of business, left, and it was pretty much prepped for Dave right after that. Traveled down to Connecticut. Where Connecticut were we?
We were in North Haven, Connecticut.
North Haven, and I severely underestimated how far away it was.
Oh, it's very far. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 3.5 hour drive.
It legitimately was compared to. I left from Andrew's place and Bobby's place in Malden in Mass, and even then it was 2 hours plus. I was like, how far is this away from me? And it was 3 hours and 33 minutes.
Connecticut just keeps going.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Being the smallest state, it is the biggest.
It is not the smallest
state.
state.
Yeah.
So Bob was there, Andrew was there. We had a pretty goddamn good day. That 716 squat, I believe, was a 88-pound meet PR.
That it was.
And an all-time PR.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a 16-pound all-time PR.
Because the week before was the first time you ever went over 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
699.69 on the
right.
dot plus the clips, whatever they were.
Right.
It was the best of both worlds. I got to make a 69 joke and I got it over 7.
Absolutely.
For the Bills.
This guy.
Can't get anything by him.
Yeah, exactly.
It was perfect.
So you brought up your bench big time.
Yeah.
You your last meet was a 358 bench.
Yep.
Yep, and we benched. I hate saying we. You benched 396.
Yeah.
You definitely had more in you, but we didn't want to take a risk. You definitely. By the time we get to the next meet, you might be opening, at 396 and then being well into the fours.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a good point. I think that maybe we can back up a little bit. So I took a pretty hefty off season. I hadn't competed since August of last year. I took 11 months, and I wanted to bulk up from 220 to 242.
Yep.
We were able to put on some pretty decent size, and I think that definitely correlated. But I don't really think we hit stride. I was having a bunch of issues with my squat. I remember reaching out to you on this one because my toes kept coming up.
Yeah.
And I was getting, I would put like 530, 540 on my back, and I was like almost like falling over backwards. It was legitimately terrifying.
Yeah.
And I worked with, you gave me some tips on it, and then a couple of people at my gym were able to give me a little bit of a hand with that, showing me some things. And we kind of got it to click around like February or March, right before we went to Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And at that,
What do you scored? 660 there or something?
yeah, I squad 661.
First 300 kilos, yeah.
Yeah.
remember you
we
came
were
up to me-
programmed for a triple at 7, but
Me and Kyle were waiting in line to meet Russell Orhe, and you walked up, and there was blood all over your face. All of your blood vessels in your face popped. There's chalk everywhere. There's just an unknown liquid on your shirt. It looked like you just got out of a boxing match. You'll never guess what I just did. I'm like, you probably squatted 660 if I had to guess.
you were giving a little bit of a heads up to Tyler. Because I asked you to come over and give me a side spot, and you were like, "No, I'm in line to meet Russ."
Tyler comes over. So David's gonna walk over you bleeding. You gotta pretend like it's fine.
Yeah. I looked like hell that day, but yeah. So we were able to. We clipped that 661. That was a 33-pound PR at the time because my best had been that 628 we did at the top strength meet.
Yep.
And
Then you went on a tear for months.
that kind of started like a true reign of progress, and that's about when I signed up for that the meet in New Haven.
That is also your home gym. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, that is Revolution Fitness Club's the gym I currently train at. That kind of did help a little bit, having home field advantage, getting being used to that specific combo
Knowing the
rack,
lay of
some
the
of the
land,
bars,
yeah.
all that. Yeah,
Yep.
all that definitely helped a little bit, especially only having a 10-minute commute. But
Right.
I think that kind of set us off, and that's about when I signed up for that meet. And from there, we were able to make pretty significant progress, obviously, on squat. And then bench, we were able to make a little bit of progress. I went from doing I think I was getting up to 370 or something like that. And we were able to hit 402 and prep pretty clean.
Yeah.
And then on deadlifts too, I kind of had some hiccups there, but at the same time, we did clip a good amount of progress too. Kind of sucks we couldn't put it on the platform, but learning how to pull slack out of the deadlift bar kind of helped me. I remember we were working on pauses, and I was like, oh, maybe if I pull on the stiff bar, that'll kind of teach me how to do it. But then I went back to pauses on a deadlift bar, and that slack pull thing really, really helped me out.
Yeah.
And that kind of definitely we were able to correlate that to some pretty good progress. So, I mean, in the gym, I was able to get 777.
Yep.
With a pause, actually.
Right. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to mention with that, we upped your bench frequency, correct?
Yes. We went from 3 to 4 times a week.
Yep.
I made a technical. So usually my bench programming is we will do comp volume on Tuesday, more close grip, more bodybuilding stuff on day 4, which will be either Thursday or Friday.
Variation.
And then I have an SBD day on Saturday.
Yep.
And we added in a 4th, more bodybuilding, but kind of a targeted accessory stuff. I was doing, originally I was doing bench into chains. And then once I went a little bit wider on the grip, we swapped that out with a pin press because we had a little bit of a sticking point at the lockout.
Yeah.
So we just started doing pin presses, a little bit more dumbbell work.
Yep.
And that definitely had some correlation to kind of get some muscle in the pec area.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that helped out a lot. And something that you and Michael can relate to. You got sick the week of the meet. He was 2 weeks. You were 2 weeks out.
I think it was
3.
Yeah.
Okay, well, regardless, close to meet time, you guys got sick, but you were really close to meet time.
I thought I got COVID 2 days out from the meet because there was a big outbreak at my gym.
And when he said that, I was like, Jesus Christ, here we go again. What is up
Because
with
this
you getting...
this would have been the second time I would have had to drop out due to getting COVID, like a couple days out. A couple of people at my gym, the owner, and then he runs Resilient Training Lab, and they had a few athletes all go to nationals in Vegas.
Yeah.
When they came back, there was a little bit of a COVID outbreak that kind of took a while to get through to a lot of people. So I thought that I had COVID because I got some wicked symptoms that you kind of hear in my voice now. I'm still getting over a little bit. Yeah. I tested negative 4 times in 36 hours. Up to 2 days out. I literally just went to the pharmacy and just bought like a boatload of tests and just like took them every 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just like I took one on so for USPA, I haven't really talked about it. It's a 24-hour weigh-in. So you weigh in the Friday, you compete the Saturday. I tested negative Thursday morning before I went to work, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I was really, really, really sick. I remember texting Erik about this and he was just like, oh no. Like, oh no. And so when we were in squats in the warm-up room.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about this. I was going to mention this.
Yeah. So when we were in the warm-up room, I was warming up and once I got to 2 reds, I almost passed out racking the bar, like taking the walk. I got covered in cold sweats.
It
Like,
looked like your head was gonna pop.
Seriously,
Yeah.
you were so red and you were profusely sweating before we were even like getting going. I was like, Jesus Christ.
like the AC was pumping in there too. It
Yeah.
was like, I couldn't, whenever I put my headphones on, it like legitimately would cause me to just like break out in cold sweats. I had to take them off.
Yeah.
And like, it was really, really bad. So
I
like,
feel like every time I looked at you, you were blowing your nose.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You blew your
It's
nose so many
nonstop.
times.
it was to the point where it was legitimately like I had torn the skin in between my
It
nostrils.
was all like with the paper towels.
Yeah, it was all with those
So
like
I can't
commercial,
imagine
like
how that
rough
felt.
ass,
Yeah,
like
sandpaper.
just
Everyone knows
240
about
grit
like-
sandpaper paper towels.
I was very concerned, and seeing you get under 5 reds, which is 595, and that's a typical
606 squat bar. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but that did not look good in the warm-up room.
Thanks.
No, and this is a good point. Obviously, if someone is either injured or like I don't know, really off, you should tell them. But like sometimes if like things are not moving well and you get in someone's head even further, it'll make things worse.
Oh, I've never in a million years say that.
Exactly. No, exactly. Because I thought the same thing. I'm like, and the first thing I was like, dude, you're looking good today. You know what I mean?
Narrator.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't.
You know, you have to.
You know what I mean? And I do that with Elliot too, because Elliot's the same way. But regardless, he
Shout
knows
out,
that.
he's not on here to defend himself.
No,
So
he
yeah,
knows
we
this.
bash him.
No, he knows this though.
Yeah.
He knows this. I do this. But yeah, I full disclosure, I was like, I thought that the bomb out possibility was high because the opener
Yeah.
was pretty heavy.
So we opened at 650,
Yep.
and when I was having all the symptoms, all that stuff, I literally was going up. I was like, all right, I am going to let me just hit my opener, and maybe I can recover for bench.
Yeah.
That's literally what was going through my mind. And then taking 6, like I didn't take any ammonia, which is very uncommon for me, especially for like a non-bench attempt.
Yeah.
And because I was just like, I need to feel it out and see if I survive this.
Right. Yeah.
And so I took 650 that I probably could have jumped with it on my back.
Yeah.
And then we went up to 688, and that is probably the fastest I've ever moved anything over 6.
Yep.
And then so that set us up for, I took 716 as my third.
Yep.
And it was a little bit of a grinder.
It was a perfect attempt.
It was a perfect choice because I know that when we were in prep, I think I wanted to go a little bit higher.
722.
Yeah, we were floating between anywhere from like 711 to 727.
Yep.
And I think 716 was the perfect choice. And I think kind of back up. So one of the things that I started working into my training, thank you, Erik, for this, is I noticed that as I was getting heavier, like moving, we were clipping some of these PRs and all that stuff. I noticed that my chest was starting to collapse. And so we made the move to work on safety bar and high bar to load that weight a little bit higher up and like train, okay, if I can load the weight all the way up my neck and not fall when it's in low bar, we'll be fine.
And what were your best safety squat bar sets and what were your best high bar sets roughly? Do you remember?
Okay, so for safety bar, it was definitely sub 5. like I think like 470 for 5 sounds accurate, somewhere around that range. And then high bar, I think the best I did was 525 for 7.
Right.
And so we ran 12 weeks of safety squat and high bar. And so we did 8 weeks of safety bar and then 4 weeks of high bar. And we got the best set I did on the safety squat bar was 600 for 3.
Yep.
And then for high bar, I did 595 for 4 paused.
Yes.
At like a 7.
Yeah.
And so
when you did that, I was like, okay, the 700, because I didn't know if 700 would actually be there. I knew you were going to be in the high 6s. I was like, yeah, 700 is going to be there.
Yeah, we were able to do that, and then it was literally, it was like the exact same thing happened where my chest collapsed, but because we had worked that, because we had that stimulus there, I was able to fight through it, get back up, and we hit the lift.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually talked about that right after it happened. We were like, that was everything we worked on.
That was literally, it was like, that was a perfect programming.
Yeah.
Like, so, like,
I mean, I'm not saying
we did,
it's all like, because we collaborate a lot with
Yeah.
your programming.
Yeah.
But that was like everything we worked on, and it manifested right when it actually mattered. So that's really cool for me personally.
that
I know
was
it's cool for you too. But.
Yeah, because I'm also super like process oriented and like all my programming stuff. I know you're kind of similar to that, where it's like, obviously it's about what the number is at the end, but you get there with the 12 or 16 weeks of prep and all that stuff. Like you get there making the right programming choices, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty. That was like pretty. It was like, it came on like the biggest stage. It was like, oh, this paid off.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, there was. It was. And like I said, you pieced together on your bench. And I guess the only thing that we, regret for the day is you did hit your opener, which, believe it or not, was a meet PR with 705. It's 2.5 kilo meet PR.
Yeah.
But then we missed your next two. So you had a really weird issue on your second that we've never seen before with you, in a meet at least. It was like a weird, I don't even want to call it a grip issue, because it's like you kind of like just like died.
Yeah. So second deadlift in the studio. Yeah, drop it. We dropped it like it was hot. Yeah. So one of the things on bench, we got 396. I had hit 402 in prep, and but I still think 396 was a good call to take, because we had kind of, I don't know why I decided to just tempo my second for like a 7-second descent, but we did, and so it moved pretty slow after that.
Make it
And so it was iffy if 402 was there, but 396 got smoked because I just simply didn't tempo it. Yeah. But I still think it was the right call, and we were trying to keep ourselves in for best lifter too, so I needed to go 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Looking back, I did not realize how out of that running I was, so we probably could have just gone for it. And
Yeah. I mean, I guess because we didn't, it's hard, especially because we don't have lifting casts and stuff like that. So it's hard to keep track, but.
We did a good job keeping track.
We did.
But it's also the guy that you were going against for best lifter also didn't post anything.
It's kind of tough when you're thinking about compete, like you're trying to like track who's going to do this kind of stuff, and someone hasn't posted in 2 years and just opens at 727.
Can't really account for that.
I mean, he squatted 771. Like
That was pretty much Bobby with the last meet or whatever. I don't think any single person, like, probably, like, just looking at the start list is like, yeah, that guy's going to win. Bobby won best overall lifter in the last meet.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we didn't even tell him.
Yeah,
we didn't know
exactly.
it until the awards.
We knew.
Well, I knew because
I knew
we were
I
there.
was
Yeah,
looking at the screen.
I was looking at the
because
screen
Steve
and I was
had
like,
a chance to pull for the win.
Yeah.
exactly. We were watching her like, if he hits this, he actually had 2 attempts at it. If he hits this, he wins. And he missed both. And I was like, Bobby just won best lifter.
I was like, hey, wait. He's like, do we want to go? He's like, do we want to go
That
tell
works,
him?
though, because objectively, like the guy is so much stronger than me.
I mean, it's still like a temp selection. It's
Yeah,
still
that's
like
what
a
it is.
sport
It's a
of
strategy
powerlifting.
that you do. You know,
It's a
chess
temp.
game
It's a
that you
temp
do.
selection, but you also outbenched him at 3 weight classes
You know,
under.
it's not
Yeah.
getting it, but like, I never would have saw that coming.
No.
No one did.
No.
And it was a nice surprise to win that. But you don't you got to play it as if it's intentional if you're going for it. But also, it's not good to get in your head when you're going to win a meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because you're making it based off of I need to win versus what's there on the day.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's healthy for your expectations of yourself, for you to have a good day personally.
No.
Like, I didn't go to that meet to think I want to win it.
No.
I went to, see where I'm at.
And
That's a good thing.
And that's a point that I've always made is if you make your lifts, good things will happen.
Exactly.
You could stumble upon into a day like that, but if you take your entire performance and wrap it around being best lifter, you could have a great day and fall short of that and you think that you sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're never gonna be where you want to
Yeah, it's kind of a piece where I think like going in, it's really good to like have an idea of, okay, these are my goals. You know what I mean?
And keep that goal the goal, because every time, not every time, but like some people get to the I don't know, the plan, say the plan is to like bench 402, and you get to the day and you're like, how about 413? And now you missed 413, and now you leave with
now, now
386.
you're stuck with your 386 second attempt or whatever.
Exactly.
391.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe it. It's funny, but we're gonna blow that up.
Yeah,
in November.
exactly.
I was going to say, I didn't realize you went with Bob's actual attempts that he picked for that example.
Was that actually? Holy shit! Was that actually the?
391. Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah, that's what you
okay.
get left with.
All right. But
Hilarious.
regardless.
200 kilos will die.
But no, those are very good points.
Yeah. And then so, crack.
Yeah. Cracked up. Crack sauce. Keep going.
On deadlift first. So for anyone here who's competing, if you were in the heavier weight classes, good little trick that I learned after the meet, a little bit too late. So one of the issues that I had after squat and bench were my hands like swelled horribly to the point where like I couldn't make a fist.
Yeah.
And it really, really killed my grip on deadlifts. I could not hold on with my overhand. Under was fine. It was just the bar was just slipping out of my overhand. I'm pulling mixed. And so we hit 705, which was meet PR by 2.5 kg.
Yep.
But I took my second at 750 and could not hold on to it.
Right.
And so if you ever have this happen to you, grab 2 ice buckets or frozen water bottles and just ice your hands.
Right.
In between, like you might get a little bit of a break between squat and bench or whatever, and then bench and deads. Ice your hands.
And it sounds so rudimentary. Like, why didn't we think of that? But like, now we know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't think about it in the heat of the moment because it's all like, okay, let's start warming up.
What can we do for this? In the simplest of
Like legitimately, like
not even on this.
that's Occam's razor right there. The simplest solution is probably the right solution.
Yeah. We could have just iced up, but you know what? It's a learning experience. Yeah. It's a learning experience. We still were able to clip 130 pounds of my meat PR. So those 3 lifts together, it was 18, 19 total.
Yeah.
And I had never gotten over 17 in a meet.
On your third meet ever, correct?
That was my fourth.
Yeah.
That was my 4th meet.
Relatively speaking, still new in the sport.
Yeah.
Really,
You've spent prepping for competitions to be approaching 1900.
So that's another thing. Yeah, that is another thing too. Where
Dave's the rookie of the team.
yeah,
Exactly.
Well, part of it too is I do not compete nearly as often as you guys do.
No, and
We
you're
don't even compete often.
right.
Yeah.
I feel like 2 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm 3 a year personally.
I think. Yeah, I know you were talking about you're
I
like
would
3.
consider that often.
Yeah.
I would. I do think it is kind of an interesting thing where I'm starting to do where I do these preps in 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did top strength, and then we did the free state barbell meet, and now here we had this meet in July, and then the me and Bob are doing IPL North American Championships in November.
Yeah, save that because I want to talk about that. Yeah.
But so I think that like doing it in 2s and then taking a really extensive break has been helping, because once you run those 2 preps in a row, it gives you enough kind of data or whatever to go back and say, all right, this is what I need to work on here.
Yeah.
It could be I need to bulk up, which is what we did. I moved from the 220s to the 242. I still probably have a little bit more weight to put on to fill out the class.
Yeah.
I think that was a perfect meet to set you up for the national level meet
That was
approaching.
That was good, and also getting to see, shout out Sergio Villarin, getting to see him do the national meet in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Where now I can see that environment, because Bob, I know you've done a national level meet before. You did USAPL nationals, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Don't forget you took
What
the
year
train.
did you do that?
When did it? 2016.
And
so
you
the
take
year
you
after
take the
me.
That was
train
the year
there,
after
lose
Michael,
all your
yeah.
equipment.
Well, I did. I took the train back from Portland the week of the meet and lost all of my stuff on the train. I think it was stolen. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I was just gotten broken up with on my way back on the train, and then I lost all my stuff 2 days before nationals.
When
Like,
back.
this is the worst time of my life.
So at least you didn't have to deal with that much adversity going into the meet,
Oh no,
right?
I had fire under me. And life is really bad.
Yeah.
all
That's
the
despite
time.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But so like it was that getting to see surgeons and seeing like, okay, this is what a multi-platform meet looks like. This is what that national atmosphere is
flow,
like. It's a nightmare in the warm-up room usually. Seeing all those variables like before I have to jump in and do it, kind of where it matters, I think will be helpful.
Yeah. Of course.
But I think it was also good. Not to say it was a tune-up, because I went 100%. And it was a very, very well-run meet too.
Yep.
But I think it was kind of good for me to get competition feel, because if I went to that, like not having competed in over a calendar year, I think I would have been a little rusty in that, like hitting all 3 lifts heavily in the same day, having it take longer, like some USPA meets tend to do, where it's a little bit longer of a day.
Yours like ran pretty good. It was long. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't nearly as long as the one that Bobby did.
Well, mine was 4 flights and a lot of lifters.
It was 4 flights, 4 full flights.
Yes,
and I believe it was like a 7 or 8 hour day for us.
I believe that from the first squats to the end of deadlifts was 8.5 hours.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
and you can't going to the gym, like just training and being at the gym for 8.5 hours.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, no, you had a great day.
Also, imagine what it's like to have to take a 2+ hour break between lifts.
And that was not to the fault or detriment of the way the meet was run. The meet was
no, that's not what we're saying. No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
It is just it's just a difference between
day,
like we can probably talk about a couple of these other things. It's just a difference between how some of the federations run.
Exactly.
Like it's very rare you see it. You probably never see a 4-flight USAPL meet, or at least not in the same session.
I don't think so. Not at the local level. I
mean, I don't even think you don't see it at nationals either.
No, you don't.
I was thinking at collegiate nationals when I was there with Josh. I think it was just two flights per session, but they would have like 4 sessions a day.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was multiple sessions.
Yeah, it was the multi-platform. Like that's
4
what you'll
sessions
see.
a day on 4 platforms every day. So
right.
it was, and that was the biggest powerlifting meet ever. There was 1,800 lifters there.
I don't think that there's a preference or one that's better than the other, because personally for me, I love the way that my meet operated, because I had so much time to rest my elbows and my joints between squat and bench that I feel like I had a good day on bench because I wasn't feeling or experiencing pain.
Right.
Squat was over. It was a different workout.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But some people I can see that they're going cold.
Yeah.
They need the day to be done.
Right.
Caffeination and stimulants, you know, doing that all day can be a detriment, but then again, you have the time. You know,
I think there's also a piece to it too when you're talking about like those long days. Like that's where some of those other variables like nutrition and all that kind of stuff during the day can creep in.
Absolutely.
Like you'll see people who like in a USAPL meet or something like that. Obviously, you guys have like a 2-hour weigh-in, but you get that you're doing only 2 flights. You get that stuff really, really quick, and your time from starting the meet to ending the meet. So I think the refeed is obviously more important with the shortened weigh-in.
Way more important.
But
yeah, absolutely.
I think your nutrition from squat to deadlift is probably a little bit less important, because I feel like you can
100%.
I feel like you'll see people who don't really prepare for that in a longer meet. They will start to fade or lose that kind of strength as that day gets on. Because like when I did that, I competed last year at the same place that Bob just did his meet. It was the same deal. We started at 12. We were done at 8:30.
Yeah.
It was a long, long day.
Yeah.
And there was the inverse of that was the Agawam meet that I did in 2021 when it was a single flight. It was one flight of
crazy.
8 lifters, and that was the meet. Because there were still COVID restrictions at the time. So what the meet director did, they had I think 3 sessions each day over 2 days. So it was a full meet, but it just was weird.
How fast was that meet?
I was in and out in 2.5 hours.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's an SBD day.
I don't think after I weighed in and started warming up for squat, I didn't eat again after that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just for reference sake, we ran a meet yesterday. In the first session, I believe we got through in 3 hours, and we had 2.
We were done before noon.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and I think the next one, if I read it correctly, that one was only 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we started at 2. We were done by, I think, like 6:15 or 6:30 maybe.
Felt like 7 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. When you're there the entire day,
Yeah.
definitely. But I don't know. We ran things pretty smooth. But and again, that's not saying that the USPA doesn't run things smooth. They just have more people.
It's just a difference.
Yeah,
I don't think one's better than the other. And I will say, the meet that I did was actually the in-betweener. So my meet was supposed to be 4 flights in one session, which would have been like another marathon type day.
Yeah.
But there were some dropouts to the point where the meet size dropped from a 4-flight to a 3-flight meet, and I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, that helped.
That was
The pacing was great.
the pacing for that was perfect, where you still get a little bit of time to decompress, kind of relax it, and it still gave me a little bit of time. I think I got a little healthier as the day went on too.
Yeah, you definitely caught like more of you seemed more like animated and more like
I seemed a little bit more like. I think for squats it was kind of a piece, and I will say like actually I'll finish what I say before I can kind of get into that, but I think having that time to like decompress just a little bit, not too much, where I think that meet was like 10 to 4, something like that.
Yeah.
About roughly.
Yeah.
I think that was like the perfect amount of time for me, because I've never done a 2-flight meet, or actually wait, yes I have the Free State one.
Free State, yeah.
But
That's a little different because they're a smaller facility anyway.
yeah, but all I've really known are those like marathon type days or whatever. So this one being a little bit quicker but still pretty long was kind of nice. Yeah. But I will say on that squat piece, like I definitely was not myself in that like opener or whatever. As it kind of went on and just like having all of you guys there, like, so the group that we had was Erik, obviously, Andrew, Bob, Kyle, Tyler, and then there were also a bunch of people from kind of having home field advantage helps there. You know, there were a bunch of people from my gym that were there supporting me. My whole family made the drive down. It was like having all of those,
which was awesome.
Having all of those guys there was one of the main reasons that I hit all three, because it was like everyone just made this 2.5 hour drive. I'm not getting stapled by either of these attempts, and it was just like, all right, like give me the bottle of nose torque, like let's rumble. And I just stuffed for my second. I just stuffed that thing in my nose and just we got after it.
And then certainly did.
Well, what I've been noticed is we've been running pretty deep at every meet now, which is pretty cool.
People were commenting on it as well.
The announcer
David came with the party, didn't he?
Exactly.
It was like also, it was having all you guys, and then shout out to the people that I trained with at Revolution, you know, all those guys coming down to support me as well. That whole group, it was like I had enough people that I could just will myself through it at that point. I was ready to rumble in that sense.
Well, it's a good thing sometimes when you're made to feel that it is your day. You know? It's like, this is a great meet, and having that support behind you, it is about you in that moment, and that gives you a reserve that you wouldn't otherwise expect when you're just by yourself, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that we have the connections that we do that. And what I think is, I mean, all of us are healthily competitive, but I think all of us don't have egos to the point where we're like maybe like we support each other and we let each other have their day. You know what I mean? And I think that's really cool. So like I had mine 3 weeks ago, and then that was over. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Then Dave had his day, and then Michael
now we're moving on to somebody. That also might be part of it with how many people that we have now. It's like someone's always next up to bat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's healthy to volley that competition with support too.
Yeah.
It's just going to make all of us better.
Yeah. I think, and
like that.
Another thing too that I think kind of that we talk is we have people from like a very like large geography too now. It's like I'm down in Connecticut, and so people come down. We make all these connections here.
Yep.
You guys are all in Boston. You're in Maine.
Yep.
Right. We have lifters.
Take a trip out to Minnesota for Sam.
Sam Peterson.
We should do that.
This is the third straight podcast we shout out Sam Peterson. But shout out Sam Peterson.
He was in the chat yesterday on the live stream.
Oh, let's get after it.
Awesome. The network's just growing.
It was also kind of cool too, because I remember when we did that Free State Barbell meet, it was kind of on a whim, and it was like, oh, I've never gotten a chance to see my family, or like my family's never gotten to see me do it, and like I know my mom went and all that, and I was like, oh, she's never gotten to see me kind of do this, like this was cool, but it was like the one that was 2.5 hours away from there was actually one where my entire family got to see, and I'm pretty sure my sister was crying the entire day.
Oh yeah,
it was so
talking
weird.
To Laura, she's like, I couldn't even watch him squat because I was like like nervous and anxious for him, and then she was just like crying. I'm like,
I was like,
I've seen a bunch of people cry at powerlifting meets just from like the atmosphere and stuff. Like,
it's emotional.
Yeah, it really is. It is seeing like because like I think with like an individual sport like that, it's like you're seeing everyone at their absolute limit. It is like an overwhelming thing, because like when we go, I think it's different too for us, because when we go, it's because we're either you guys are directing something, or because we were going to support like one person.
Yeah.
But if you're coming as like a spectator, you're seeing that times 45, times 60, whatever, how many lifters are in it.
Yeah.
And seeing so many people under that level of emotion is kind of crazy.
You're seeing someone's best.
Yeah.
What they've worked for, what they lived their life for. You're really
especially when it's something
forward,
you've never seen, because like none of them had like ever like seen that type, and it was that was like the coolest part of that entire day, was like seeing, like having my family get to see it, and it's like, hey, this is kind of why I do this.
Yes, exactly. And those moments like that really put in perspective, like those long sessions, you know what I mean? And it sounds so cliche, but like it all comes to fruition when it comes to that. And I think it's really cool because you don't know what each individual person is going through that led them to that day. You know what I mean? It might seem like all of these people have everything set up perfectly. You know, most people in the stands probably didn't know that you were sick like a fucking dog a couple of days out.
It was pretty obvious with how much I was blowing my nose.
Well, you know,
face was beat red under 650.
yeah. Well, anyway, no comment there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my whole point, though. It is like, you know, there's people who deal with stuff and they, you know, they come through adversity and whatever. Not everyone is 100% comfortable talking with it. But when you find out after the fact, it's like, okay, it puts it into context that, you know, this is really special and whatnot. Yeah, so you did really well. You're going to be going, you and Bob will be going to Oklahoma City 16 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah, we are competing. So Bob is going to be competing November 18th. I will be the 19th.
Okay, and briefly talk about what that meet is. It's a qualifying meet, correct? You have to have a certain
Yes.
dots?
You need a class 1 total. In
You
the
need- yeah,
Class
so
one total,
I
okay.
don't know how it is in the USAPL. I believe it's just a qualifying total, and they shoot you a number that you have to hit, right?
Yes.
For nationals, yeah, but at the Arnold, some of the events at the Arnold, there's a dots requirement.
Okay, so you guys have a dots requirement. For the USPA, the totals are broken up into classes, and I don't know if they change year to year or something
It
like
is
that.
not a dots requirement.
No, it is not. It is basically
Just
every
total
weight
kilos.
class has certain tiers of like totals. So there's like class 2, class 3, class 2, class 1. Then it is master, elite,
International.
and international elite. Yep. So for this meet, you need a class 1 total to get in. So I don't know what it is at 198. At 242, I know it is 1660.
Yep.
Which
Dave totaled 1819.
I believe that met the requirement. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. So actually, the meet I had at top strength where I got 1686 at 220 qualified me at 242.
Right.
So we were good there.
Big man.
Big dog's got to eat. But
Yeah.
So for this meet, you need a class 1 total.
It is, and it's going to be a great level of competition too, and I'm super excited for it. But it's a different feeling when you're going to a meet that has a bar to entry. You know,
True.
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily if that affects performance. You know, I haven't done it in a long time either. But like with USAPL recently raising and elevating their qualifying totals to get in, you know, it's that pool that you're competing against seems a little bit further beyond your reach, even if you're there.
Yeah.
It brings the most competitive aspects out of you.
Right.
So it's not just like, oh, this is, you know, my meet, I've been training, let me get into it. You know, it's a local meet, which people take it seriously. Absolutely. Like, you should.
Yeah.
Yes, you should.
Yep.
Going to a national level events is exciting for a different reason, I suppose. You know,
Yep.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to bring the competitive best out of you.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course.
Yeah, well, so there's also this other thing that I kind of just didn't realize up until now is like, I don't know what it's like for people in the lighter weight classes where you have a lot of weight classes mixed into the flight.
Yeah.
I am used to mostly on squat and deadlift because my bench is poverty. I'm used to being like close to dead last in the flight.
Right.
And that probably won't be the case for this because everyone's going to be in my weight class and like it's a national level meet. It is one of the highest, it's like one of the highest levels of competition in the USPA that you can get at.
Yep.
So I'm used to squatting second, third to last tops.
Right.
Deadlift, same deal, right? But when you have all of these people who have all met this criteria, I'm not used to being in the middle of that flight. It might be something that we kind of have to control.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Some-
fun to give you a perspective.
Yeah.
You know? Is that you're, whatever, big man, wherever you're training.
Yeah.
Going and being amongst people that are working just as hard as you, people that are on that level as you are.
Yeah,
you
maybe
know?
people you're not aware of too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause people aren't posting
Yeah, I'm
all
not
the time.
gonna
You know,
skip.
you're not aware of
Yeah, I'm not
everyone,
gonna,
right? You know?
and I'm not gonna go and try and like scout the competition for like a North American level meet.
Because it's
Right.
funny. It's
I don't
a
have
funny,
time for
healthy
that.
I'll
level
do it
of
for you.
competition.
Before your meet, I
You
literally looked
know?
up everybody on Open Powerlifting
Yeah.
and put out their best dots.
Yeah.
Just to see what you could do.
It's a
Right.
fun,
Where you land.
healthy level of competition that can push you, but I don't think that, at least within my experience of all of us,
Yeah.
anyone's toxic about it. That we are
No.
competitive to the point of our detriment.
Right.
You know?
It's not competitive to the point like there's two levels that there's being competitive where you want like other people to fail, which kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
like I want to beat
like
other
vile.
people. Yeah. I want to beat other people at their best. That is
To me, that's the mark of a true competitor. You know what I mean?
I want to be stronger than someone who went 9 for 9.
Yeah.
I don't want
You
someone
don't want them to have a bad day, and then that gets you in. you know?
exactly.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't
even if
wanna-
you are competitive, I just don't even think that feels good. You know what I mean?
No, I don't want to win because somebody like fell on their second squat and it fucked them up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, right.
I would like to beat someone going 9 for 9, and also they're going to be a little bit better on that, just getting that strength, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
I would much rather beat someone at their best than someone just fumbling or getting called for all this technical stuff. Like
Right.
I think that's something special about the sport as well, is that you don't often see a character that's interested in the failures of others.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still supportive, no matter what you
Yeah.
are there to do, no matter your competition. I don't often see people that are wishing the worst for another lifter.
Right.
It's all support all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's something special about the sport generally, across a broad spectrum. So
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that you're right. I think that's pretty much universal across feds. I don't have 100% experience with every fed, but from what I've seen from the outside looking in, that's what it seems like. All right, so the main event of the day, quite literally.
Oh my God, that's brutal.
Quite literally. Quite literally, yeah. Bob's got the shirt. Bob's got the shirt. These guys are spars and loaders. We'll end probably talking with that because you guys do a really good job with that. Michael, true or false? You competed yesterday.
True.
True or false? You qualified for Raw Nationals in the Open 67.5 kilo class yesterday.
True.
True or false? You won $650 and was best lifter of the entire day.
True.
True or false?
Wow.
I'm going to rob you for $650.
don't be in the parking lot.
True. Michael, you had a great day.
Thanks.
So what were the lifts that you hit before we talk about like the deadlift fiasco? What were the best lifts you hit, and what was the total that you hit?
So I hit a 441 squat.
Yep.
292 bench, which is a PR bench since 2018.
Yep.
Which is crazy. And a 529 deadlift.
29 deadlift, and the total was 572.5, which was
Yes.
1262.
Yes.
What was the qualifying total of curiosity?
572.5.
Yes.
Okay. All
So
right.
let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
get after it.
And they literally just announced nationals today, right?
Yeah, Memphis,
Right.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
September.
Flyer looks cool.
Middle
Yeah.
of September.
Shout out to
Sure.
Bass Pro Shops.
I was so
The
worried
pyramid.
too that they were gonna change the qualifying total,
Nashville.
like
Yeah.
go up. I'm
What?
like,
Isn't that in Nashville?
Close enough. It'll be in Tennessee.
Someone fact check
We
us
can
on
make
the
a
pod.
road
Maybe
trip.
in Memphis, actually. You're right.
Someone
We can
fact
make
check
a
the
road
pod.
trip.
This is not relevant.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends who you ask.
Michael, yeah, go on. So you obviously did really well. It was a very, you have lifted this facility before, so that probably helped.
yeah, I could tell I was a lot more calm this meet versus last meet.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that right off the bat with you. This is the first time you ever water cut into a meet.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So roughly, you weighed in light,
very light.
very light. You were actually eating and drinking before you actually got to
I had one donut and like 6 ounces of water.
one donut, 6 ounces of water. You
A
weighed,
gentleman's refeed.
and
That's all you need.
he weighed in at 66.1, which is just a hair over 145 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Half under
the
weight class.
Yeah.
the day before I was 149.8.
Something like that, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I dropped 5 pounds.
Right.
You said this is your first water cut?
Yeah.
You don't think about how quick that weight's going to fall on you that last
And we
night.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Remember, we
That-
talked about it. You're like, I don't understand how that happens.
I was the
Yeah.
exact same
Crazy
way
is
because
weird. It's really weird.
just very, very quickly.
No, no.
No, you're fine.
Because when I was doing my first water cut for that top strength meet, I remember on the two, I was like, dude, I think I'm going to be over. And you kept telling me, like, no, you're going to be absolutely fine. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I cut 12 pounds for that one.
Right.
And I weighed in 3 pounds under.
Right.
I remember I took a thermogenic on the drive down thinking I needed it. And Eric was just like, you don't need to do this at all. I stepped on this.
just sweating his ass.
It's like, I have a couple old hydroxy cuts.
Just-
I was like,
I forgot about that.
Just a gigantic human being just sweating his balls off in a 2,000 Honda Accord. How's your mitt? And I looked at Tyler Auclair, who as he was weighing me, he was like, "You think you're gonna be close or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really close." Weighed in 97.5 kg. He was like, "What the fuck?"
but yeah, so you weighed in light. So where did you start the cut? Was it, were you 150?
Are you talking the water cut?
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
the week before.
It was like 151.5-ish, something
Yeah.
like that.
And this is really good, and I'm glad that we did this because Michael, as we talked about in the pod before,
Special guest over
yeah,
here.
we have our special guest, Eleanor the dog, the French bulldog, underneath us. You have never cut into a meet. You've always been really light going into the meet.
Yeah.
So we have data that you could probably start that cut like 1 or 2 pounds heavier.
I was thinking probably somewhere around like 153.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
absolutely.
bulk up. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
So wait, big boy.
Yeah, and that's where I cut. Right,
Yeah.
I cut from 153, and I what I think really helped is me and Michael were in the same weight class, weighed roughly about the same towards the end of the prep. I sent him exactly where my body weight was each step of the way, so you were never panicking,
No.
and you showed up on the day. I know some people who are just, again, like Dave mentioned, panicking and stuff like that. Here's the guest,
Special guest.
special guest Eleanor. So let's talk about deadlifts.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give the people context.
You want to go through like the whole meet first, like his squat?
Yeah,
and
no one
bench,
cares
and
about your
then
squat
end
and
with
bench,
the deadlift?
apparently.
Honestly, I don't think anybody does.
I care about your bench.
I don't really
really
care.
care,
Both, though.
I mean, you
Okay.
have an objectively incredible bench, so
Okay.
maybe we should talk about
I mean,
it.
it's okay.
Well, no, I was going to set up what led us to that, but
Okay. So,
I guess.
You do whatever you want.
how do you want to do this?
All right. I want to give people context of why we picked the attempts that we did to get you to that spot.
Yeah.
So we had the plan coming in. The top end was 446 on squat.
Yeah.
The top end on bench was 297.
Yeah.
And then the top end on deadlift, we were hoping to qualify on the second deadlift, which would have been, what was it,
It could have been
518?
518 or 524.
Yeah, depending upon, a bunch of different things.
Right.
And then we were gonna, send it on the third,
Yeah, like
right? Because
you
we
were
had,
saying 540, 545.
yeah, exactly, based upon where you were with your pulls during prep.
Yeah.
We decided, and this is a big thing, Michael's dad helps him as well. We decided that after his second, I basically don't want to, if we miss a lift on squat or if we miss a lift on bench, we're not going to be able to get the total that we need. And it puts a bunch of undue pressure on you for the rest of the meet to the point where you're nervous going into every single attempt. So essentially what our thought process was, all right, we're going to go 2.5 kg lighter than what you're 75% confident in. He thought he could get 202.5, 100% was there. We took 200, lived to see another day, have momentum going into bench because that is so crucial. If you miss going into bench, even if you have a good bench day, you're just going to be deflated. Yeah. You know what I mean? We went for, the top end again was 297 for bench, and we settled for 292.
Yep.
Which moved good.
I don't think 297 was there.
Agreed. You have a really high sticking point because you make everything fly up. And that scares me because, like...
Slingshot work.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the slingshot work that we
Maybe
talked
I
about.
secretly do it.
Yeah, exactly. Elliot, if you're listening. He couldn't touch his chest with 275 on the slingshot. It was so funny.
Wait, you couldn't?
No.
Wait, what?
Just let it fall. What do you mean?
No. He pulled it down. He's like, whoa. Hold it back up. So we took 292, and that was important because that was your first bench meet PR since 2018.
Yeah, before it was 286.
286, yeah. So we came into deadlift. So after that happened, I was like, Mike, let's go do this math because I want to like double check to make sure because I'm not gonna fuck this up. I don't want this to basically be on me.
There's no way we were gonna be 2.5 kilos.
Yeah,
under.
because that was like exactly. So I was
And
like,
knowing us, we're all horrible at math.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very us thing to do.
Very intentionally.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, you pull
Nothing would deflate us more than us thinking that we got you to nationals. Like the whole place explodes, and we're like,
going crazy.
just
the smoke machines
kidding.
going
Just
off.
kidding, it
Listen.
was 570.
Yeah, exactly. I would have taken 100% responsibility of that. I'm like, I would have died. But anyway,
That's not taking responsibility. That's taking the easy way out.
Good thing you didn't mess up. Carry on.
well, anyway. So 572.5. So we took a subtotal, and then we took 572.5, and then we subtracted the subtotal to find the minimum that what he needed to qualify. And what it worked out that the attempts that we had, we just had to raise this opener 2.5, and then raise the second 2.5, and we would have qualified on the second. Hit the first one, we were pretty good. Moved to the second one, and then we had the heart attack of the century. Michael, you missed that attempt. What happened there?
So I could kind of tell on the first even that grip was going to be an issue. Just because the baby powder on the bar.
Yep.
I hold on the smooth.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
No, it's not, because this is something that we can take moving forward.
Yeah. I think that the bar that we train on at Saco Sport is just like, for some reason on the smooth, a little like it's not tacky, but it's just like more grippy.
Yeah.
Is that the Ohio Power Bar?
Yeah.
Is there coating on it?
The coating is, the black is starting to come off, so
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
starting.
is it the black oxide one?
Yeah.
So maybe that has something to do with it. I think the Alico's air steel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's stainless.
Yeah.
So you think so you grip almost entirely on this.
Yeah, so I go one finger on the knurling.
Okay.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, and
Is this are both? Because I know you pull mixed. Are both of your hands in like a similar spot?
Yeah,
I know some people who can't like fully supinate on their under. Like I used to do this a little bit. I used to pinch out my underhand a little bit, and it would help compensate.
Yeah, so your supinated hand is fully on the smooth of the bar? Or
Are you saying with
No.
one finger on the knurling?
One finger.
my
is on
pointer
the knurl.
finger. So my left hand is under.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's on the knurling, my pointer finger, and then my pinky. Wait.
Yes.
Then my
Yeah.
pinky.
Yeah, you got
Yes.
it. Yep.
Is on the
Can you
knurling.
feel which finger, like which digit, is slipping on your grip? Is it like a pinky issue, or you hold more?
Do you think about that? Like, I don't think I would think about it to that level.
I don't know. I don't.
I
think
think
it's-
my middle finger.
Maybe it would be somewhere. Yeah, probably like where I'm not holding the knurling.
Right.
Yeah.
So you missed that, and this is. But then again, this is. I was talking to Michael's dad about this. I was like, and I'm glad that we did this way. I was like, God forbid something happens on the second. At least we'll have 2 tries at it. And sure enough, something happened on the second.
Spoke it into existence.
That's not true, bitch. That's being prepared. Anyway,
That's been the plan though since the beginning.
yes.
What, failure
absolutely.
second? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it made it interesting.
It's on the third.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Second.
it was just for dramatic effect.
Exactly. We had a live stream. We had 1.2K people watching. We had to like.
Oh, we
you
went
know,
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So on the third, we baby powdered the fuck out of your quads. I think
Yeah.
I poured an entire thing of baby powder on you.
Yeah. I chalked
that was
my hands
great to
up
clean
so
off.
much.
You chalked your hands up. You moved your grip out.
I did. So I went 2 fingers on the knurling.
Right.
And I think I'm gonna have to do that going. And even that, I almost was kind of slipping.
Right. And I think you got the down command at like, because if you had to hold that maybe like a second longer,
Yeah.
probably would have not.
would've
I mean, I don't
been-
want to speak it for you. You were the one doing it.
I was holding it. Like I had control, but it was.
It was
not.
close. It was too close for
Literally
comfort.
Pretty much the limit.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't much left.
And to set the stage for people who were either not there or didn't see the live stream, you can go and watch it. The place was like insane, like going crazy. There was like, and I always like this moment in sports where as soon as the lift goes down, the whole place goes quiet.
Like
No one was saying.
Kawhi
Yeah.
shot like in the.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
the
is it
conference
dunking around?
finals,
Yeah.
bouncing around, and everyone was just like.
And it goes from hyped to completely quiet. Could hear a pin drop, and then you
Three
see the
lights,
3 white
yeah.
lights, and then it was just
Well,
pandemonium.
that's how you tell people are super invested.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely, and it was just
The fog
pandemonium.
machine comes on, and it's like
Yeah, the fog
Like,
machine.
completely normal thing that happens at
Nothing
powerlifting
worse
meets.
when it's a no lift and everyone's just like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me at my fucking last, whatever.
That was
Not the
No.
last minute to be before that, but
Not going there.
Yeah.
So redacted.
yeah, redacted. But yeah, so that's your first qualifying total in the open age division.
Yeah, I did it as a junior.
Yep, you did it as a junior, and of course you won at the teen level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the junior.
Didn't you win?
Wait,
Weren't you
teen?
T3?
Oh, you're talking about when I went to Nashville
In
before.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's been to qualified for national so many times they can't even remember it.
It's like, oh yeah, I did do that.
But no, this is pretty special, and you really earned it, and you deserve a nice little week right here to kind of decompress.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about it? Was it what you obviously you didn't anticipate missing your second or whatnot, but I think your experience in the sport really speaks volume to how you came back and got that third.
Yeah.
Some people that would have just shattered them.
Yeah, that
Right.
was grit right there, brother.
Yeah. I think if this meet would have been like if this would have been my first meet back and this was the plan, I don't think I would have hit that third.
Right.
Because last meet I was like just being in front of the crowd again was like I was so nervous. Like
course.
my heart was racing after the first squat.
And
It
that
was
was-
so easy.
And that was your first meet in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this meet was like every single attempt I was just like so calm.
Yep.
I didn't have any caffeine until deadlift.
Yeah.
I was benching and I'm like I probably should have taken some caffeine.
I actually asked him. I was like, "Did you stim up yet?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just took a. What did you take? It was something.
80 milligrams.
It was 80 milligrams. It was the V8. Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a half a donkey's iced coffee.
It was the V8, right?
Yeah, it
it was the V8.
There's caffeine in V8.
Yeah, so it's like green tea or something. I don't know.
There were kids back there that were like housing pre-workout, and Michael's back there with the V8. It's just like
That's how
getting
you know
lit.
your experience.
Yeah.
This man's jaded.
Because there was a ton of teen lifters there yesterday. I mean, you were in the back room, you probably saw it all, but I assumed a lot of them were just going crazy.
Dude, there were so many people like, and not this meet. Okay, I saw a bunch of people, but the last meet that we ran the state championships, those teen lifters were just absolutely riots all day. He's like, bro, how many scoops of Total War do you think I should take for deadlift? And he had already taken.
many?
He had already, yeah, exactly.
The quantity should not be
yeah.
On the bottle, it says, "Do not use under the age of 18," and
Right.
also do not take multiple
See
scoops.
professional help.
And the same kid, I did not see him eat that entire day. So like,
That's healthy.
That's another topic. Meat day nutrition.
Yeah,
chips, bagels,
exactly.
You know, donuts.
yeah. But yeah, Mike, you fucking killed it. So you won best overall lifter, obviously. You were first in the open, first in the junior.
Yeah.
Won a ton of money.
Yeah.
That will be robbed.
Yep, Mike. That's right.
I will go spend it.
Right.
now.
At round 1.
Oh dear.
At the
Yeah.
Swick.
Yeah, at the Swick.
I wanted to ask you, Mike, what would you have called the RPE on your third squat? Because you can hear me on the live stream say
Yeah.
I've literally never seen you struggle with a squat.
I
Did
have.
it? Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm sure, but
But you know
Yeah,
the one I'm
what
talking
would you
about.
call the RPE on that?
You've seen, you actually were there for that.
He was there
struggle
too, yeah.
402 when we competed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, back at CrossFit Casco.
Yeah.
Yep. Undaunted, whatever the fuck,
Powerhouse
yeah.
at the time, but yes, okay. Yeah,
But
that was probably the last time.
That
Yeah.
was the last time I struggled.
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound fun.
But
And that was an all-time PR.
402, that's it.
No. Your
Oh,
441 was.
Yeah, today, yeah. I would say RP was probably like 9.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't 10.
It did
be-
not
but-
just make it look so
Yeah.
smooth.
Michael, exactly, and we talked about this before. Michael's bar and like first warm-up will look the exact same as his top end.
Honestly, the watching the live stream, the first one and second one too, like I didn't think they moved as fast as they did.
Right. And we're always saying that to you, like, dude, that moved easy. And you're like, dude, that felt like shit or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to see because, again, we always make this comparison. I squat very different compared to Michael. You know what I mean? You can tell there's weight on the bar added when I squat. Michael, you can't, right? But it's, kind of the same deal. But yeah, I'm really happy you had the day that you had. And, I don't want to talk about me too much, but we had 11 Team Hogan lifters. I believe 3 of them were first-time competitors. They all went 9 for 9. I want to shout out Logan Allaire in his very first meet. He set an unofficial American record squat. He squatted 491. The kid is 15 years old. Placed second overall in the teen division. I want to shout out Elliot Vajnica, his first ever podium. He squatted 402 for the first time ever. That was an all-time PR. 453, which was he had never... I guess he did hit his third attempt deadlift in his first meet, but that was, lifetime ago. 453, his best in prep was 440, it was an all-time PR. Chasing Pavements by Adele was playing.
I was nearly crying.
I told Elliot.
And Elliot.
Your
I
voice
was going to say,
Probably,
your
yeah.
voice, we watched it on the live
Yeah.
stream like over
Yeah, I
and over
could
again.
hear
Your
you
voice
on
legitimately,
that.
your voice,
I had chills.
Yeah.
you sounded like you were crying. I was about to pass out on your third pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear you yelling in my ear
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
Honestly, I think it helped.
Yeah.
I was screaming in both yours and Elliot's ear, like at the top of my lungs, like this close.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Carly Cummings placed second overall in the women's division. All of my girls did really well. Every single person that had done at least one meet before, PR'd their total. And then 3 of the first-time competitors, they all went 9 for 9. So realistically, I couldn't have asked for a better day.
Yeah, I want to shout out Jordan for putting 100 pounds on her total.
Jordan was 84, yeah.
After coming back from Portugal.
Yeah.
Yes,
Took a vacation
and this is my whole. This
Not really
exactly.
vacation,
No, it was work related,
out-
but
yeah,
still
out of the country.
out of the country, and this goes to my whole point. You don't know what people go through to get, or what they had to go through to get to that day. Michael got sick. Elliot was having problems with losing body weight. Chris
He also
Couliard
jammed a fingy in prep
jammed a finger in
for the
prep.
first time ever in his life, which blows my mind.
Carly Cummings has a child, and she got sick. I believe it was a week out, and she hurt her shoulder pretty bad. I don't know if she mentioned that. Jordan with the Portugal thing. Amanda was dealing with like mental struggles with her deadlift. People go through a lot of things, and it's just so awesome to see that adrenaline kind of carry them out of it, and they can get out of their own head. Because I think with a lot of powerlifters, the biggest variable is themselves. You're the most limiter. Elliot's talked about this before, and he's mentioned it. So it was a great day. Andrew, we co-meet directed this. You did a great job running the live stream, running all of the logistical things. How do you think this meet ran?
I honestly think it was our best yet. I got a lot of good feedback from everybody that was there.
Yep.
I'm sure. You were in the back room most of the time. I was sort of up front. We were sort of bouncing back and forth the entire day, but I heard nothing but good things from everybody.
Yep.
I had Sean Moore actually ask me if I could run a 2-meet platform for states.
That would be cool. That would be crazy.
It is
For
cool,
a
but
state
it would be
level
cool.
meet.
But we got to get
I know.
double the spotters and loads,
Yeah,
double the reps.
there's a lot that goes into that, and it's like, you'd think it just like doubles the work. I feel like it would quadruple the work.
Yeah.
Like it would be
The logistics are more
exponentially
difficult.
more difficult. So we'll see about that. But
Shout out Sean Moore, by the way.
Yeah, no, shout out the entire Stand Strong team because they said I think they came with like 18 lifters yesterday.
They came out strong.
It was insane, and I think the entire first flight in the men's session are very close to it. I think Elliot and Logan may have been the only two. In
Right,
the first flight.
Gabriel Katz, but otherwise,
So
three.
The majority of the first flight was Stand Strong lifters. So
yeah, they're all young boys too. Obviously they have the women's team, but the young boys are like It's cool because we're getting to see them like grow up.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean.
mean?
They did phenomenally as well.
Dane Kuzno did the first meet back in July last year. And
he's huge now compared to
he's
that.
A lot bigger. I think it ran really well. We had a ton of help setting up, a ton of help taking down the meet. I think we set up within like 6 hours.
Which is fast to give people
honestly,
reference. Yeah,
because I think in January it took us 12 hours. We're getting I think we're getting a lot better. And it helps to have, a lot of people around to help.
Absolutely. I want to shout you guys out because you guys do a phenomenal job spotting and loading. Until you actually spot and load, it might seem, I don't think people think it's easy picking up those plates or whatnot, but the precision that you need to load the weight correctly, to do that for, you see the one flight, so multiply that times 3. You're doing that over the span of, 6 to 7 hours with the 2 sessions or whatnot. You guys, I believe, did not misload an attempt yesterday.
I don't think we've ever misloaded someone.
I don't think so. I can't remember.
This happened when I did it at Odyssey.
Right.
It wasn't me, but I have seen him misload.
Right.
It was on Chris DeCaro.
I remember it was his bench press, right?
Yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, of course it happens. Human error is a thing.
You're loading the bar thousands of times, maybe.
Yeah.
How many attempts are there?
There's going to be what is it?
9 times 56.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, do the math.
The margin for error, you would expect it.
Yeah.
But
and we keep everyone safe. I don't think we've ever had a situation. I mean, obviously, shout out to the competitors because Andrew, personally, for whatever reason, has been caught in the fire of people dropping squats on him.
The last 2 times I've spotted and loaded, the first time I had 733 pounds dropped on me, and then at Odyssey, some kid dropped 441 on me.
Right.
So, I mean,
big man, he can handle it.
Yeah.
Dessert you're fine.
Exactly.
But it helps that these guys, you see Dave with the 1819 total body with the 1703. I think our lifters really feel comfortable with you guys out there, so that helps out a lot, too.
I like to have them feel safe, and having a spotter on squat particularly makes a world of difference.
There's been studies on bench press, at least, where having a handoff in spotters around you makes you stronger.
It does.
There's literally scientifically studied that it increases your strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think there's a point when you're talking about attempt selection too. Like if you're at a meet where you are worried about a spotting and loading crew, you're someone in a elite level meet or something like that. Especially if you're a bigger guy and you're moving heavier numbers, where you're I don't know if I feel comfortable taking this jump on my third. If something happens, I might actually get hurt.
The risk for serious injury.
Especially when you're talking about a squat where that is that is the one lift where the consequences of failing that are considerably more serious, with the exception of say a bench going towards your throat area.
Yeah.
If you fail a squat and you cannot get the help, that is a dangerous thing. So I think having a spotting crew that you truly trust, I will say, shout out to the spotting and loading crew that I had last week too. They did a phenomenal job as well.
Yeah.
I think going into that's just something you don't ever want to have happen, where you're basing your attempt selection over whether or not you think that
you shouldn't even be thinking about the
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's another thing is I didn't even think about how hard it is to spot and load until I did it. I didn't even up until my 4th competition that I did, it didn't even cross my mind how much work it is, because I never really, I don't know, you don't think about it.
No, we definitely regained, or not that we didn't think of it. I mean, no, we didn't think of it. We found a newfound, I guess, respect for the sport when we started directing meets, because all of the other stuff, and that's why whenever I go to a facility and you do the same and you do the same and everyone does, I always try to be as respectful as possible. Not that I was ever abhorrent before, but I double down on it now because I know how much work it took for that meet director to set things up and to all the logistical things. So, shouting out spotting load. I want to shout out Bobby because Bobby gave me, of course, I had the breakthrough of my life on bench press. I finally went over 300 pounds the first time in my life. Bobby was the person who handed me off. Bobby was the one behind me on deadlift, and Bobby was a side spotter for me. And that honestly made me feel so comfortable. And,
I'm in your ear.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
were.
true.
You absolutely were. You absolutely were. And stuff like that really helps.
You spotted and loaded in 2019 at the state championship, right?
Yeah, I was for Erik. Yeah, he was competing.
So
He was there too. You spotted him too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Travis Sanborn too. We keep shouting him out.
Was your dad doing it too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me and Travis.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steve.
Yeah, and my dad.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Elliot talked about it yesterday too. Like he was like, dude, having you behind me like kind of helped a little bit.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
Elliot looks to Dave as a father figure. Seriously.
he picked a bad father figure.
Yeah.
But he did
It's an
it.
absolute
But you're the one that he's got.
Yeah.
You don't choose it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for his third squat, I was like, "Do you see who's behind you right now?" I was like, "He's not going." Do you see who's out here right now? He goes, "These guys are
Like,
not
if
going."
you fail this, I will bust your kneecap.
Yeah, I was like, "These guys
May
are
as well
not
just
going
stay
to let
down.
you." Yeah, they're not going to let you quit on this
I
bar.
love watching people, especially on the squat, being
Yeah.
right there with them. I feel like I'm with them.
That is such an
That
intense
yeah,
moment.
it's part of it. Yeah, I think it's part of it too, and I think it was kind of cool for like me to watch how well Elliot did it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he sucks he's not on here. He's busy
know.
doing other things, selfish.
I'm interested to hear Elliot's like meet recap.
I want to,
Yeah.
I want to hear it
it
because it's like it was really cool for me to like kind of get like a little bit more involved in some of the other like Team Hogan guys too, where it's like it's kind of cool for me to like see Elliot's progress a little bit more in depth or whatever.
course,
like
yeah.
he was sending me like some of his deadlifts and stuff like that. We were talking about some things too.
Yeah.
Because I know he was having that issue like falling forward. He said, and I know for someone too, especially if you're talking like a sumo puller who's that tall.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to get close to the bar
Yeah.
when you're that because there's just so much femur and the bar is only so wide for you
So
to
much
fit.
femur.
Yeah.
An egregious
Kids
amount
all
of femur.
femur.
Kids all femur. Seen the femurs on this lad?
We'll speak on that.
I know what you're getting at.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it was so cool for like
Always building
me.
AT-AT.
It's
Keep going.
it's like cool for you to see like okay like that, and I know how much it meant to him as
Yes,
well too.
that and again, we keep circling back to it. I really, because if people understood the context of like why that third attempt deadlift was so special, because the two meets before he's either gotten it red lighted or dropped it altogether. You know what I mean? So that was huge. That was an all-time PR. His squat was an all-time PR. I remember spotting Elliot 255 pounds for 3, and he almost failed it a year ago, and now he's squatting 402. You know what I mean? So like that's special to me, and like my young kids are so fucking
That is
incredible.
a crazy amount of progress, and I think the one thing that I do wish I had that like for the people that are like as close on our team as they do, like I did not have when I was getting into the sport. I did not have someone who was a little bit older than me that was a little bit more seasoned at it.
Yeah.
That like gave us some of the ringers like we can do for like some of the other guys. That's why I do like to take a little bit of like an investment into like some of these
Absolutely.
younger guys a little bit.
I didn't
because,
have
like,
that either, and you know what I mean? And that's why like some of these older guys that and I say older, not that old, but like some of the people
more experience.
Yeah, that I've been able to come into contact with, like John Lavoie and whatnot. Like I really enjoy listening to him and how he articulates things, because he has a different way of looking at lifting than I do, and it doesn't necessarily make it wrong, but it helps me be better because he's more seasoned than I am. He's a better lifter than I am. I want to be around people who are better than me to get better myself.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what I mean?
have to,
yeah,
you know?
I think that's something that I know because when the three of us were getting it, like there was no one that was like an experienced powerlifter that we trained at when we were in college.
We were just,
and we were
like,
trying to get into it.
Energy off of each other.
It was Bob.
Yeah. I mean,
It was
and-
Bob, and like we kind of hinted at, we used to deadlift and do heavy singles at 9.5 twice a week. For
Yeah.
absolutely like there was
Keep
no
in mind,
structure.
they both played rugby at the time.
Right.
Yes.
And that is
I would-
excruciating on the body, and to be able
Andrew,
to powerlift.
Andrew was actively competing like during the rugby seasons, whatever. And I remember like a couple of times he'd be like, "Yeah, man, it really sucks. I'm not progressing as much as whatever." And I'd be like,
Andrew,
There's-
you
there
have,
were points
you have
during-
people running full speed
Yeah.
into your body
Brother.
for 80 minutes a week.
"Mitch,
understand.
shout out Mitch."
Yeah, no,
Hospital pass.
There were a lot of times I just stopped lifting completely during rugby because I was fucked up. You know, like it hurt.
Yeah,
Shit hurts.
absolutely.
I will never
It's crazy to
forget.
me that Kyle for a while was still playing rugby and lifting like 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Like in the men's league or whatever he was doing.
I was going to say to look at like that stimulus too, and like shout out Josh Dang too, because I know he still plays rugby and he was doing a little bit of
And
MMA.
BJJ,
stuff.
He found
Yeah,
love in
right?
it. Unfortunately, he's fucked his leg up.
he's fine. They give you 2 legs.
Walking off Josh.
Yeah, Josh, if you're listening to this, just get the fuck over it.
Dirt on it.
That kid, I love him.
I will like you
I
look
know.
at that, and the one thing that like I think about when you talk about that, like I will never forget when we were in New Haven at University of New Haven, and watching you have to catch that relatively high pass and just.
It literally happened like once a game.
I saw that, and I know that you were deathly ill, and I watched Barrett Lyons, who I got to play with in Texas and Canada, and I watched him split you clean in half, and I was like, you're doing that and trying to powerlift.
Yeah. Life comes at you fast.
So does he.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was
I watched you get legitimately split in half by a kid who was running off of 2 hours of sleep.
Right.
You know,
He went out all night that night.
You know what? Life happens. Hey, you guys probably did too.
I was a better man after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You learned from that.
Yeah.
But like, it's a lot of stimulus that adds up.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I think kind of what we were getting at is like, I feel like our training would have caught in stride like we kind of are now, like a lot earlier if I just known how to do it.
You can only get so far while you're adding like that additional stimulus.
Yeah.
Because powerlifting or strength training, whatever strength metric you're going by, to make serious progress, it kind of needs to be the sole investment. You know, because who has that much time either? You know,
True.
Your body doesn't have enough time to recover if you're.
And people work, you know what I mean? So, like, there's so many other things that people have to do. And, you know, it sounds kind of dumb, but we went back to that Occam's razor thing. Whoever someone's favorite powerlifter is, let's say it's John Hack or whatever. Maybe that's not good.
John Hack.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to go that route, though. Let's say, like, maybe Russell Orhe is a better example. Whoever your favorite lifter is, my thing to them, for people who do like all of these other things like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like the rugbies and whatever, and they complain about progress, I'm like, okay, who's your favorite lifter? X, Y, and Z. Do they do all of those things? Or do they only powerlift? Like, they only powerlift.
Case in point.
Case in point. And that's literally as good as a concept as you can describe to
And
someone.
we're not trying to say too that like it's bad that you have multiple priorities. It's just
but you have to set.
You need to keep you need to just understand that it's.
You want to get better at one.
You have to set realistic expectations for yourself. That's the unfortunate thing. You want to be good at a bunch of things, or do you want to be great at one thing? That's completely fine if you want to be good at a bunch of things, but you can't. You got to draw the line in the sand.
Yeah, it is tough to like. You cannot train to be the best of the best at like a bunch of different things that all give you a similar stimulus that like you only have so much fatigue that you can accumulate, and if all of that is coming from powerlifting, then you have like the bandwidth to kind of
even
powerlifting.
then you're competing against different energy systems, right? So if you're doing the rugby thing, that's entirely oxidative, and if you're going into powerlifting, that's entirely fast twitch. You know what I mean? So it's two different types of energy systems that you're kind of getting into the middle, but you're not trending towards the other direction.
So much.
big brain words over here.
Yeah, I got it.
Dave pay grade.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you what. I know you just competed yesterday, but what's next? Is it going to be nationals? Are you going to take a year off, or are you gonna?
Next is probably going to be the state meet.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
That was going to segue me into my next thing. We're not going to make it official, of course, because we're not allowed to do that. But Andrew, roughly speaking, when do you think we'll hold the state meet?
It'll probably be the middle of March. Yep. I would say. We'll probably go back to Augusta, hopefully, to have it at CrossFit Casco Bay Undaunted again.
Yep.
But still a lot of time before then. A lot of stuff we need to work out. So
A lot of stuff we need to work out, and I think we ran 4 meets in a calendar year span, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't.
3 meets in the last 7 months.
Yeah, 3 meets in the last 7 months. We know we're not going to be running one anytime soon. I think the next one will be a different meet director. That is in Maine, that is. But we'll definitely be looking to expand horizons in terms of venues. Jackson Jill might be one of them. So we're especially since we've been doing it now, we feel a little bit more comfortable with the ins and outs of it.
Shout out Luke, by the way. The meeting he's doing at Jack and Jill.
Yeah, with the
he
Grand
got
Prix.
He got the coolest name ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited for him too.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, the Pine Tree Grand Prix?
Yeah, Pine Tree Grand Prix. I think that's really cool, and that's going to be at Jack and Jill. So I'm really really curious to see how that is. I'll definitely.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, shout out Jack and Jill. We do it every podcast, but
Sponsor.
yeah, proud sponsor. They
Yeah,
sponsored on it.
so.
Yeah,
And
True.
they've actually been a huge help to me because they've opened the gym early.
All
It's
of
a
us.
24-hour gym.
No, but all of us. Like, he messaged me the day of the seminar that they did.
Oh, yeah.
And he was going to close the gym, and he left, and he's like, hey, just send me a message on Jack and Jill Instagram when you're going to be there, and I'll open it up through my phone.
Yeah, he does that for me at like 5 a.m.
He doesn't have to do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Great guy.
Yeah. And he's been so supportive of us, before we even really knew what we were doing with running meets and whatnot. So we'll always be indebted and make sure that we give them their props that. So yeah, that's your competition plans. So we know your next meet is going to be the what's the technical name of the meet again?
IPL North Americans.
So IPL North Americans. That'll be in so that's October.
It is November. It is November.
16 weeks from yesterday.
Yep. So I don't know when my next one will be. So we'll just do
Regionals,
whatever.
maybe?
Regionals is far away. That would be like a year. I want to do.
That'll be a year from
What
now.
month would that be?
It'd be in the summer.
Yeah, it'll be in the summer.
Oh,
23.
too close and probably nationals then.
Well, I mean, it depends. I think the calendar they sent out, I think May was like the first month
Right.
you do regionals.
Yeah.
And then it's up until like August or something. So
Right.
it depends on where it falls. It used to be in July. And
Ideally, what I would prefer would be to do a meet, do regionals, and bring my full team to regionals, and then do nationals.
the Arnold.
Yeah, because you're qualified.
Curious.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not by 2 points.
That sucks.
First of all, first of all,
Yeah.
what is the standard?
Fourth,
How do you know that I am qualified
so
for this?
there's different events that happen at the Arnold. There's like the Grand Prix. There's like the A7 Raw
Pro-American.
Challenge. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones. So I don't remember what it is like that all the best lift at, but I mean
I think
you
it's
have
the
definitely
Pro-Am,
qualified for at least a number of them.
There's the
Yeah.
meet, and then there's the Pro-Am, which is the invitational, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
like 3 meets that happen there.
Yeah.
Like 3 USAPL meets.
I mean, I would definitely consider it for
Some
sure.
of them you have to be invited, I think, right?
I think it's the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
invitational.
So I guess maybe for some, I would consider it for sure. But I guess in the time being, that is what I would prefer. As we mentioned,
Erik is lifting in the animal cage. Don't get it twisted.
yeah,
Dude, shout out Animal Cage because like growing up and starting lifting and seeing that on YouTube at like 17, it's like
Yeah.
that's what I want to.
Jesse Norris.
When I got to-
800 pounds.
I did not lift in it. I was able to
next to
be
it.
so. No, actually, I went to the Arnold in 2016, and I got to see. I believe that was when Steffi Cohen pulled 545.
Was Dan Green there?
Dan Green was there. Chris Duffin hit in 60 seconds. He did an 800 squat, a 585 bent over row, and then also
I bent over.
All barefoot. All barefoot.
all barefoot, and also deadlifted 800.
That guy's awesome, man.
He smoked all 3 of them. Tom Finn was hammered the entire time, and
guy.
Jay Cutler swung a metal chair at him.
Pretty drunk.
Continues to be hammered to this day.
Yes.
Yes, he is a real American.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. And then that night,
Up and back. Up and back.
night,
Fucking Taurus pack.
that night, we lifted at Powerhouse Gym in Columbus, and the animal crew was all there.
Wasn't that your first 500-pound squat?
It was.
I remember you called me. I was living in Florida.
Yeah.
You called me on the phone. Bob, just squat at 500. Who are you with?
I was with No Free Ads. I was with Campus Protein when I was still working. I had that little sponsorship with them.
Campus Protein
Yeah.
was awesome.
I was there. So that day, Ray Williams had fitted me for my first pair of knee sleeves.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he was working the SBD booth, and I bought a pair of sleeves there.
Do you still have them?
Yes, I do.
You never washed them either.
That's right.
Nope.
You never wore them.
As you shouldn't.
Oh wait, no, I don't actually have those. I just swapped them out for a different pair of SBD. Damn.
See, the truth comes out.
Goddamn. I lied
He's
to
a
the
liar,
people.
Your Honor.
I lied to the people. But I did that, and then we went to, like, Animal was hosting a thing, and they were, like, recording it live. And Rob Hall, his Instagram handle is, like, World Breaker Savage.
Mm-hmm.
He spotted me, and I had, I forget, his handle's Higa Monster or something like that. He's a strongman guy. That's
Oh, yeah.
Dan Green was there. He blew out, he was in crutches or whatever when he was there. Oh, he benched. That's what he did. Yeah, he did lift in that cage, but he was there
Surprised
for
he
it.
Benched out of anything that he usually benches the lift that he's injured on.
Yeah, well, it was his knee that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back
It's always
with
something.
force now.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. But
He's fun to watch, man.
and I squatted 500 on their live feed.
That's cool.
It was so sick.
That's awesome, man.
I also burped super loud in that live feed, like right next to it, and
Good
you can
shit, Dave.
and
That's
you just hear it's just
History
like
repeats itself.
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, "You're gonna cut that out, right?" And she was like, "We're live." And I was like, "Oh, sweet."
So you're gonna cut out me asking to be cut out?
Yeah.
No.
Can you just close the feed, please?
Yeah, right. Cancel it.
But yeah, so I guess bring back to my point. So that's you guys' next meet. I like competing more frequently, so I'll probably do one. I'm not gonna say relatively soon, but I like 16-week-ish range, so probably find one around there. I would love, like, my big thing is I want to send a full team to regionals because I think that would be so fucking awesome.
So I want to ask, what's your next goal too? Because you hit the 1,300 total that you've been grinding for.
Yeah, I mean that was like because I was so close to it. That was kind of like why I wanted to hit it, and I missed it the last one. I honestly, at this point, just want to keep building my total every meet, whether it be by 2.5 kilos every single lift, and it's only 7.5 kilo, I will fucking take that. If I can have constant progress from, I'm 24 now, till my 30s, I have a very strong, inclination that I will be well into the 1400s, and if I can do it that way and just do a sustainable approach, I'm okay with that because I might not get there as fast as the other people, but I'll get there healthy and I'll be able to do it longer, and that's more important to me personally.
Powerlifting is a long man game that no one thinks about. It is
Right.
It's a mature approach.
Right.
To not have a particular number, I'm going to hit this number, like...
I don't do well with that. Other people do. I personally don't, and I just know that about myself.
I think it's like another thing too that people don't think about is where it's like if you are healthy, your best total will come at 34. It will not come at 24.
That's what I mean.
You
That's
have
what I mean.
the potential to build strength throughout all of your 20s and deep into your 30s too. So where it's like you see some people that like really they'll like have this big coming out party at like age 23 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they get hurt a couple times by training
burnout,
too.
dude.
Yeah.
They get burned out and you never see them, but you see some people who can kind of maintain that and put up better numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I feel pretty, content with where I am right now. Of course, I'm not going to just sit on and rest on it, but I think this is the first time, so I've been lifting powerlifting since 2018. This is the first time I really feel like I've hit my stride as a lifter, and I just want to keep going with it. You know what I mean? I just don't want to, I'm not going to, fuck around with any new things or whatever. I know what works for me programming wise. I'm just going to keep doing that, keep doing meets, keep executing, because that's the hardest part of the game is just to execute when it matters. But that's me. What I've been trying to segue this. Andrew, you're next.
I'm 8 weeks out.
Yeah, he's 8 weeks out.
Batter up.
That's right.
Yeah. This is my turn. Wait, is anybody else on competing before then?
No, because all the other people, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't think so. All the other people who are competing at that meet.
Yeah, so it's
it's
me,
gonna be a crew.
Bex, Jordan. Anybody else on the team or just us three?
Seamus and Kyle.
Seamus and Kyle.
Yep.
Seamus Kyle also
I've seen
shout
it
out Nick
once,
Sparks
yeah.
from Revolution. He's doing that meet too.
Yeah, next
Okay. Yeah, he's really strong. I love that kid.
Yeah, he's good. Sophomore 75.
Yeah. So I know this is going to be a bigger one for you.
Yeah.
What are the goals for this one?
Qualify for Raw Nationals.
What do you need to
whatever
hit?
it takes.
Okay, what do you need to hit? Tell the people.
It needs to be a 682.5 kilo total.
Yep.
Was that in freedom units?
1,405 maybe. 1,405 I think. No, 1,505.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you're well over that.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Well, you did it.
1,505 I believe.
Yeah, 1505. And this will be a home meet for you.
Yeah, Titan Barbell, Stoneham, Massachusetts.
The first
Shout out
ever
to Barbell.
meet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess not. At that point, it won't be the first ever meet because there's one before it. Or is it after it?
No, the PLA is in October, so.
Okay, so we'll be the first ever meet at Titan Barbell. We'll have everyone there. Home meet. I think it's the perfect stage to have this type of goal.
It's just on
Yeah,
a Sunday.
I mean,
Now, what
it
I'm
is on a Sunday, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is on a Sunday. And one thing, and you're never an excuses person. Andrew legitimately stays up for hours on end, like preparing for the meets that we run. He went out for Dave. He went out for me. So his training has been kind of, I'm not going to say on the back burner because you always train hard. You always execute. It hasn't been the main priority because there's been so many other things and on top of a full-time job. You've still done pretty well. I know there's a couple lifts that you want to move better. But it's kind of hard when you're staying up for 20 hours at a time and, your nutrition... I don't know about you, but my nutrition has been fucked the last 2 days. I think you're going to hit your stride, especially this last stretch leading into it.
Yeah, I mean, the past few weeks, just been busy, but definitely no excuses, and I feel like things have been going well.
Yeah.
And
I think that your deadlift is going to fucking take off. What have you changed with your deadlift?
pulling hook now, so I had grip issues for a long time.
Look at me.
I pulled 550 back in March of last year, and for whatever reason after that I've had horrible grip issues. I dropped my third deadlift at the Odyssey meet in October of last year.
And that was, what was the weight for that?
That was
562?
556, I believe.
No, I think it was 562.
Okay, yeah, 562. Dropped that, which I was probably strong enough for.
You were.
And then my third deadlift, multiple training deadlifts I've dropped. my third deadlift at my last meet in April was questionable. I got 2 white lights for it, but my grip definitely slipped on it. And then a few weeks ago, I injured my back and lost grip on a deadlift attempt during training, a 529 double, which I've hit before. And so I figured with rehabbing my back, me and Erik decided that giving hook grip a try would be beneficial just to see. So I've been doing all my top sets a hook, and then all of my back downs have been mixed. So we'll see. I mean, it's held up so far. I hit 507 hook, and it moved and felt well. I feel like my positioning is a lot better. And it's felt very solid in my hands. But I mean, with mixed grip, my grip doesn't really go until I get like 525 plus. So I mean, probably this week we'll.
Everyone has that threshold, but you're right.
Then it goes like that because you hold 500 pounds for 10 seconds.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot.
It really is.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, I don't know. Like, obviously those long holds do build grip, but like, you can't like simulate what that top end max is going to do without
exactly and
without holding it.
That's why it's hard, because I want to try and train that, but you can't really do that unless I'm doing the full competition lift, and I can't.
And
do
at competition,
that multiple times a week,
yeah.
because then you just get fatigued to hell, and it's like you got to find out something to do.
These are the real issues, right? When it comes to like the highest end of like program design and just like mentality. You know what I mean?
Have you been hooking on that rogue bar at Titan?
I've done it on the new road bars.
The one that
Dakota.
I was about to say. I don't know how you could stuff your thumb into that bar. That looks
because I
painful.
don't stuff my thumb. I try and hold it at the
does it
very
correctly.
tip.
Yeah, he does it correctly.
Well, no, so that's not what I was getting. I was about to say, like, I feel like that bar is just sharp.
It is
very sharp.
It is, but that's the first bar I ever pulled hook on.
Fair.
And that's the
You
one.
know
I was-
nothing
That's the
else.
baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna use like the Texas bar because there's like no knurling on that.
Yeah, shout out Erik for getting us new barbells. At
Yeah,
Titan.
absolutely.
Shout out Titan Barbell again though, but like
It's been great.
Yeah,
Eric's the best, and we just got a new bathroom too. It's
Just
great.
got a new bathroom
Yeah.
renovation.
We're getting renovations on the old.
Bobby
bathroom
also
now,
trains at
too.
Titan.
I do train at Titan.
It's a great gym. I love it there for sure.
Bobby and Andrew also live with each other.
We do.
Yeah.
And we're moving into a new apartment. Another new apartment together.
Together.
Next week.
Yeah.
So when I just thought that the stress was going away, I just remembered I have to move next weekend. So
It's great. Everything's good.
yeah,
That's
no,
right. We're good.
I don't
Okay.
have a lot of hobbies. I'll take care of it.
Yeah. This is the M&M. You okay? No.
No, but no.
Yeah. So that's our next meets. We're kind of hitting our stride as a group, and I think it's really cool to see. So I think that's a good spot. Unless anyone has any other extra things they want to say before we shout some things out.
Ooh,
Anyone?
there's a good piece too. I know you've trained on the Kabuki bar before.
On the Kabuki deadlift bar?
Yeah.
I have
Or
not
you're
trained on the
you're
Kabuki
trained.
deadlift
You've used it before in comp.
bar. Yes, I have.
I've only used it once, and I pulled conventional on it.
I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Okay, so you really like it. Some people don't like it.
I'm hearing that. It felt like a dream because I didn't know about the Kabuki switch for USPA
Yeah.
until I was holding that bar in my hand, and then they told
You're
me,
like,
I'm like,
damn,
I
this
walked
bit's
up to it,
longer.
It felt good. It just felt so good. And I'm like, I wonder why. And they're like, oh yeah, you like that Kabuki bar? I'm like, Kabuki bar?
Oh, what are you talking about?
Kabuki bar?
Okay, so kind of to back up on this, and I think it might be a good time because we actually have USPA people on here for the first. So in the USPA, you have the option for the meet director to use a squat bar, which is going to be 5 kilos heavier. It's a 25 kilo bar.
It's thicker.
It's thicker around. It's
Yeah.
a little bit longer as well.
I didn't know that was an option. I thought that was the standard.
No, it is
Yeah.
up to the discretion of the meet director. So sometimes what you will see is like the lighter people who just use a power bar.
Yeah.
So you get the squat bar for that. It's a normal power bar for bench. And then for deadlift, you use a deadlift bar, which is longer. It is
Thinner.
Yeah, it's longer. It's
diameter,
thinner. I guess the knurl's not really any like sharper or anything like that. But it doesn't have a center knurl in it.
It could be, but
Yeah,
like not,
maybe.
probably not.
That's not what I was thinking
negligible.
about.
Yeah.
But so it's longer. And in the USPA, some meets are using this Kabuki bar, which that is even more alleviated because that bar obviously bends. And the Kabuki is longer, which even more accelerates that bend.
Well, they need it now because people are getting so strong on the deadlift that,
Yeah.
So we're going to need to see 500 kilos on the bar at some point.
In
the
a
near
full
future.
power meet.
In a full
Yeah,
power
that is
meet.
nuts.
So we need to use the Kabuki bar. you know?
Yeah, and it's one of those things too where it's like it is tough to train on it because like I know that everyone is going to be able to pull a little bit more on the deadlift bar, but it is a harder technique. That slack pull is super difficult to
Sometimes
do.
the stiff bar just feels better in my hands.
My technique on a stiff bar is way better.
Yeah.
So like
Because you're not using it. It's another variable that could be to a fault.
when you were
Relying on the equipment.
pulling with a stiff bar, you can take that slack out by simply wedging in. And I know some people can do that on a deadlift bar, but that is not the case for me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of slack to go through.
Especially when you're up into the 700s.
Yeah,
that's
when you
really
like
feel
that bar bends to the point where when it breaks the floor, the middle of the barbell is almost at the top of the plates for me.
That's crazy.
It's like it legitimately it bends a ton.
Yeah,
and
people
so
say it doesn't start to make a difference till 315 or so, but I really think it's higher than that.
I think it's 500. Yes,
I think it's
okay, yeah.
A big
I think I start to notice it when I get to like 595, where I have to actively think about like pulling the slack out for because this was something that we is something that we worked on too, and this was part of what I was talking about getting into my deadlift prep is what I used to do is I used to just I used to wedge in and get low, and I would just try and yank, and so like when you hear talk, oh, the whip threw me off, like there's kind of two pieces have happened. So when we talk about like bar whip, what we're talking about is like the actual recoil from not effectively pulling slack. So when we talk about like, when we're saying like a slack pull, what you want to do is you want to make it so that the bar is at an equilibrium of like weight distribution before it breaks the floor.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be using the memory of the bar to break and basically just pulling super hard in the middle, and it's going to bend the plates up, because when that happens,
Good way to put it.
down.
Yeah.
It's heavier than
When-
what
yeah,
the actual
when-
load
And
is.
you
because
don't
one
get
that-
you don't get that with a power bar.
no, you do not. So what would happen when you do that is you're going to use that tensile bar, and that's going to create momentum and inertia, and that's going to slow down once the bar breaks the floor, and you're going to see the plates actually like wobble on it, and that's what we call getting like thrown out by the whip.
Yep.
Right? When you do a perfect slack pull, what you want to think about is that you're almost like you want to have the bar at a perfect equilibrium where it breaks the floor like a power bar, but the bar is just curved.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the advantage of like the...
That's a really good example right there. Holy shit. You want to pull it like it's a power bar but curved. Seriously.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
really-
even joking. That's actually a really good example.
That's-
Doing my pulls on Buffalo bars.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Hey.
that's exactly what like I try and think about doing. And when you see that, like one of the big things that I noticed when I started effectively like pulling slack out is my launch is so much faster.
Yeah.
Like when I want to, it's almost like a two-phase pull where it's like I have that slack pull now, and the instant I want that bar to break, it's up.
Yeah.
And that's when because I remember what used to happen, especially before my gym got kilo plates, is I would like really like launch through the middle of it, and it would turn into a pause deadlift as that like the weight would like clap, honestly. And I'd have 7.5 plates on there, and it would like recoil, and I'd almost have to do a pause deadlift, and I'd have no speed.
You do a pause deadlift. It pulls you back into that position.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and I would sit here and be like, oh my god, I can fly up to 657. I get to 730. I get to 750, and it's like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so because it's not something that, as I'm going like 585 or whatever, I don't even feel it because I'm strong enough to just rip through it.
Yeah.
And that bar's not going to slow down. But when I get heavier, that sticking point just comes, and it comes quick.
Right. That makes sense. And these are things that you only really deal with when you start getting into the weights that you guys are lifting. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that you mentioned the point of like the deadlift bar not necessarily helping until you get to like the 500-ish range. I think for the people who it does help, I think it's more so the grip because it's thinner, so it feels like it's like easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does. It feels better in your hand.
Yes, and I
I
think
honestly
that's.
don't know if that's the case though, because I feel like my
You can
grip is
get more certain. Not
You-
more certain.
I'm talking for the people who do not pull 500 pounds and they think the deadlift bar helps them at like sub 500. I think it's more so because they're able to get a better secure grip. And if you have a better secure grip, it's almost like pulling in straps. It's like you don't.
well, it's another thing
Yeah.
you don't have to think. But I'm not necessarily convinced that my grip on the deadlift bar is any stronger, because I feel like
Correct. I
It
understand.
might be a whip correlation too, because it's like when you also have to think about like when that bar bends, it's bending in your hand too, and it's causing movement in your hand.
Okay, yeah, I definitely understand that, and I think that's more so when you get above like that 700 range. But I'm talking about for the people who are not even breaking 500, and they're like, yeah, like the deadlift bar really helps me out and
It's
whatnot.
easier to grip your whole hand around.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's fair.
the point I'm trying to make. The benefit that they're seeing is probably more so grip related than it is, because they're definitely not getting the whip as like you guys are. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there because I will never do that. But some of our our viewers might. I have no inclination. Dave mentioned this, like you don't even pull on a deadlift bar YOLO after a meet, and that's so true.
Where do we go from there? We get the mammoth bar.
Yeah,
We get the
exactly.
mammoth
It's true.
bar
Yeah.
out.
Every USAPL lifter, the stereotypical, I'm going to never pull on a deadlift bar, which obviously they shouldn't. You don't get it in comp, but they're going to YOLO pull on the deadlift bar with as many, with like straps, bumpers, whatever.
bumpers,
And
yeah.
that's what it gets
To
more
get as
views on
much.
Instagram. It gets
Exactly.
10 times the views on Instagram than your
It
meet.
seriously does,
Exactly.
though.
That will
Yeah.
get more clout on social media than your actual comp poll will.
Right? You're not just doing the meets so that you can YOLO afterwards. Why do you
And it's funny
Yeah,
because with
exactly.
some of those people that are so strong, they're going to completely fill the bar up with pound plates and then have to start loading kilos after it because they get to like.
You're definitely more likely to get posted on ESPN doing something like that than you are like putting up like a strong like class whatever the highest totals are for
Yeah.
like
I've held my
ESPN
tongue for
meet.
too long. I'm gonna start being a hater.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Exactly.
in time for us closing out, I'm gonna start being a
Only an
deadlift
hour and
specialist.
44 minutes in the hate comes.
Yeah, exactly.
I was about to say, let's bring it on.
We kept it at bay for now, but you know this is
What's
the
the
real
meme
people.
where it's just like the two people at, like, looking out like the bus windows or whatever, and it's like the dude
Oh,
that's
yes,
wicked depressed,
yeah.
and he's just like
He's-
happy,
he's-
supportive,
yeah, yeah.
or whatever, and the
Yeah.
dude with the sunny like
whatever.
grinning ear to ear is just like
Massive hater. Yeah.
Are we an hour and 44 minutes in?
Yeah, we're an hour and 44. So
Gosh, we love talking.
yeah, we love talking.
Yeah.
But time flies when you're having fun. But with that being said, Dave's got to drive 3.5 hours to get back.
I have to drive his ass.
Bob's gotta
Bob's gonna drive me an hour and a half back to Malden, and then I'm going to drive another 2 hours back to
right.
Connecticut.
I'm gonna take the coldest shower of my life.
These
I'm
guys,
so excited.
yeah, these guys got to get back. We've had a long couple of days. I got a bunch of shit we need to do. So let's wrap this up.
All right.
So we're going to end this segment with shoutouts. You know, if this is the first time you've ever tuned in, shoutouts is a segment where the floor is yours and yours only. Shout out any entity you want, anything, anyone. The floor is yours. Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Bobby.
I would like to shout out the Brunswick in Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Those rum buckets are
The
different.
rum buckets. The atmosphere there. You really, it's irreparable. You know, it's.
It is one of a kind.
Diet Cokes were hitting last night. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was
Diet
not
Cokes
wanting
do
to
Vitamin
do it.
DC.
Dead.
I'd like to shout out just Old Orchard Beach. I love being up here. I love Saco, Maine. Shout out to the venue yesterday.
Yeah.
Soulfield
Soulfield
Sports.
Sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a venue.
That
Yep.
place is awesome. We've run very successful meets there, and they've been
Yep, our
super
third.
helpful. Shout out these two here for being the best meet directors that I've ever.
Oh, we only get one shout out here, but
No,
okay,
no,
let's
keep
keep
going.
going.
Let me keep going. Let me keep going. No, we've had multiple. Andrew was the first person breaking the multiple.
Shout
in
out my
episode three.
mom. You know?
Your mom's a sweetheart.
Shout out Green Monster.
Yeah.
And
Or Delia, too.
Yep, that's the second shout out we've had.
no,
of
no
Greenland.
shout out to Elliot because he should be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
true.
true.
Shout out to Michael for
Yeah.
having an amazing performance and all my friends that made yesterday so special.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So who would like to go next then?
Dave go.
Yeah, we're gonna have Dave go. Does he have something ready?
Number one, shout out, what was that candy I had? Yankee Doodle or whatever the hell I
The
just
Yankee
had?
Doodle.
Yankee
Shout out
Doodle.
Yankee Doodles. Those go hard.
What about what you got at Landry's?
Oh, you mean the M&M ice cream sandwich at like 10:30 in the morning? Yeah, that went hard.
The lady looked like he had two heads.
Yeah, that went hard. And
Dave shows up with an ice cream sandwich.
hello, yes, I would like one ice cream sandwich, just the Jack Marsupial. Oh, shout out all of Stand Strong for thinking I was British.
Yes,
We
yeah,
forgot to
exactly.
touch on that.
Yeah, exactly. Team Stand Strong. Sean Moore came up and it's like, ew, that freak, that monster guy that you coach. He goes, he's British, isn't he? And I was like, Dave? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, Dave is from New Hampshire. He's not British.
Might as well be.
All the kids thought that he was speaking in the British accent. These 3 meets or 3 or 4 meets that they've all done.
Not at all. I mean, to all of you kids that are listening, to all of you, all the kids if they are listening, I am not British at all, and I've never been more insulted in my entire life.
I'm not British and I've never been British.
The United Kingdom is not getting a
This
shout
is
out
a
from
real
me. Just a
American.
heads. Yeah, I was about to say Britain is not getting a shout out from me for anyone who thought that was going to happen.
For the Queen.
The Queen can get fucked.
We made it an hour and 47.
Queen can get fucked.
This is going to be the one that we use as the thumbnail for this one. No, seriously, this is going to gain traction.
The Jack Kangaroo with the and that's it. That's the thumbnail.
Okay.
Oh, the one serious shout out, I did want to give a shout out to my crew at Revolution.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sophomore 75, Nick Sparks.
Yep.
Tyler Stanio, who that kid can just deadlift like anyone I've ever seen. Also a great bench presser too.
Yep.
Dan Martinez, the narc.
The narc.
Yeah, I know he's not getting a shout out from Bob for being a
shout-out.
cop, but I'm going to miss a few people on that. But Luke Duraz as well. I don't know how to pronounce Claire's last name, but
Yeah.
Resilient.
Claire Resilient.
Claire Resilient, yeah. She's also great. Her, Paul, Erik, Mike, Ryan, other Ryan, and I'm forgetting a few people, but all those guys are pretty good to train with. And I kind of, like, when I started training there, I didn't know anyone because I moved to a brand new state.
Yeah.
But those guys kind of took me in or whatever. Oh, Jose as well, that
Yep.
behemoth of a human being. Only 800-pound deadlifter, I think, that I actually know.
Wow.
Yeah, he
Set for
pulls.
Tyler now.
What?
Set for Tyler.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. But yeah, Jose's an 840-pound deadlifter.
That's
The
awesome.
most aggressive pull I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
But like those guys are just like so supportive of me. Like when I squatted 7 in prep, like 3 of them went down just to like spot for me.
That's cool.
Like they drove all the way just for like, okay, like we all have a group chat or whatever, and when it's not just absolute, but just
Bedlam.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good way to describe it. We all are super supportive or whatever. When someone has a big lift, we'll all make sure that we're training at similar times or whatever. Oh, yeah, Evan's getting a shout out too on that one.
Yeah.
Quite the friend of the pod.
Hell
for
yeah.
some of us. He, I don't know.
You talking about Evan, right?
No, well, him too, but I'm talking about Evan Starboard.
Evan Starboard, yeah. we're going down a different path with that one. Shout him out.
He-
Absolutely. He's good. He seems like a great kid. But like,
he's something.
the shit he posts is just batshit.
I think his number one emoji is the milk bottle.
Okay, and
That's
like we
about
said,
all
that's
where I need to
everything. Yeah,
end
that's
it.
all we need to know
Everything you
about
need to
that
know.
guy. Andrew, you're the other guest. Andrew, please shout something out.
I'm gonna shout out Luke Souza, Lift and Shoot on
Oh man,
Instagram.
that's a good one.
He's a great one.
Was the meet day photographer yesterday, and I am very excited to see how the pictures come out. He does an incredible job, and he had a lot of nice things to say after the competition to us. And also, I want to
His vertical sucks.
He's a phenomenal fella.
Yeah.
Phenomenal fella.
Get involved, but yeah, he's a great dude, great photographer. I want to shout out the smoke machines that we got for the meet yesterday.
Those were so fucking cool.
Shout out water in the smoke machine.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gone horribly
Oh.
wrong,
Yeah.
and been a waste of thousands of dollars. But
When I was talking to Sean, he came up to me and was talking about like how good that meat was run, and it seems like
He pulled me aside and said the same thing, so it's really cool. That's awesome.
I'll take
Give
it.
yourself a pat on the back, fellas.
yeah, and it's crazy to where like I think the first time that we did it, you guys did a good job, and you've gotten better every single time.
I think that's the name of the game. You know what I mean?
It
So-
shows that you
Find
guys kind of
what-
care.
Find what you can improve on, or find different things. And I mean, it's just like
And then when
it's
you-
a metaphor for life. Really.
Yeah, and when you find something that works, don't stop doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
If it ain't broke, do not fix it.
Yeah.
What you do post meet is you take the revenue stream and then you reinvest it to make the next meet better.
that is the key. Honestly, that is the key. And I can't speak for any other meet directors, but I think that's something that we believe in for sure.
Sure. I don't think we've made money.
I think it's super.
No.
We've lost a lot.
I think it's super
exactly.
cool.
Because
I think it's super cool that you guys post like the financials after, like for like the visibility.
that was a lot easier when we first started. Now
It's a lot more
just
expensive.
everything.
Yeah,
is
who's
lost
approving the
in
expense reports? A fog machine? Are you kidding me?
Shout out to
Yeah.
Liz.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course. Oh yeah, she's always worthy of a shout out.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Michael.
So I want to shout out Erik for
Oh yeah.
being a great coach and
Well-
getting me back to nationals.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it, man.
I want to shout out Lydia for putting up with me through these last like 8 weeks.
Yep.
They've been like hell.
Yeah.
Like, it's been hard.
Yeah.
And just like shout out everybody that like you guys for spotting and loading. Andrew, like yesterday was a really good day.
Absolutely.
Good day.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
It was such a good day.
It was a
Right.
fantastic day, man.
I
was a good day.
wouldn't want it to end any other way.
I
It
know,
was a
man.
humble day on the farm.
It is just so cool that we have a great time every time we do this. So it's cool that we get to do it as often as we do. I don't take it for granted. And I never will. All right, so I'll end it with I want to shout out every single person that competed under me yesterday, and in particular, of course, I want to shout out everyone. Everyone had a great performance. I want to shout out in particular the men's side. All of my boys showed up. I think besides Chris, but no. Listen, why are you guys cutting me off right then?
Because it's
Why are
way
you
funnier
guys?
if we do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on the cold card.
Every single person besides Chris who was stunted up showed up in a full suit.
Oh, that's true.
So thank
That's true.
So thank you for cutting me off and making me look bad, assholes. every single one of them showed stunted up, and it was I didn't think they were actually gonna do it.
I didn't know if everybody was going to.
Yeah,
I was
and-
shocked.
and-
It took me a while to click. Is like, oh, they're doing this, huh?
Yeah, and everyone looked sick.
The New Balances on.
Elliot with
Oh
the
my
New
God.
Balances, the Air Dads.
jeez.
I stunted up myself. I told these guys if they did it, I was gonna do it. I was hot as fuck. I was running around. Not great handling a tire, but fuck it. It looked sick.
It was clean.
And then-
Counterpoint, we ball.
Yeah, we ball, and Luke got an insane picture of me. That's probably
Oh,
gonna
that
be
was
like
so
my
powerful.
picture. Yeah,
Phil Jackson.
Oh, that was cold. Yeah.
that's what I thought it was. Phil Jackson, right?
I also I looked pretty decent on the live stream, giving a handoff or whatever. I looked like I was built like a Pixar mom.
That's right. The Pixar mom.
You are.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I was giving. I think it was Liz that posted it. And she was. I legitimately looked like a just.
He was hammed up.
Fanging.
I'll admit
Yeah.
it. He was hammed up.
Yeah.
All right. So
It's
with
Hoochie
that,
Daddy season. Don't forget.
that being said, we're closing down 2 hours now. That was, unless you guys have anything left you want to say. Actually, you know what? Let's close this off properly. Bobby, do you have anything to say to people in closing?
In closing, it's closing time.
It is. Michael,
Last call for alcohol.
Michael, in closing, do you have anything to say to people?
I don't have anything.
Andrew?
No.
David?
No, I'm all set.
All right. So with that being said, that was episode 9 of the Utopiacast. Bobby, Dave, thank you for joining us and taking the time out of your day to come talk. Andrew as well. Our second time guest, Andrew is?
Yeah.
I believe so. He might become a reoccurring member. Jesus Christ. Yeah, guest of the year when we do our awards here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting this podcast. Thank you guys for supporting all the various things that we do and we're into. And yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it. Have a good one, guys. We love you all.